Please click the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and the bell notification. Thank you. Please click the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and the bell notification. Thank you.
The Tambourine! It's all about the Tambourine family. I'm your summer. I'm your sinner. Down it to the flipping world.
Tambourine and praise the Almighty Father. All God-fearing people, let's go.
Get right!
Hey, 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 yeah. Hey. Up there. Shake your tambourine and praise the Lord. But the least will be done by mine. It comes the wind of revival time. Everybody shake up your tambourine and praise the Lord.
Mixup An Blenda time.
Yeah. Once again, greetings and blessing, all massive and thing, big up on yourself, everything is everything, you know, welcome up in the sitting, Ragashanti on the app and thing. YouTube family, big up on yourself and thing, Facebook crew, large up, CM, everything is everything, all right, blessings and respect and thing to one and all. Hope you've been having a great day. If not, let's make it a little better for you, okay? All right. Alicia Stevenson. Big up yourself. Shantana want go down. Mika, I see you know. One CBS. All right. D&D large up. Big up yourself. Lottie girl, big up yourself. Antasha in the building, them for no down. Mad thing. Paulette Myers large up. Sonia. Yeah. Big up yourself, you know, Sonia. Everything is everything, you know. Big up all Canadian and thing and whatever, one that the Gideon and thing and whatever, I don't know anything you said, alright? St. Alicious, large of Cheryl Bless, big up. Somebody named Pretty on Purpose. Yeah, Pretty on Purpose, me like that. Yeah, intentional, don't? Intentional prettiness that, you know. Pretty on Purpose. This are the thing, this are wagwan. When tell me wagwan, tell me wagwan. More hear wagwan phone. All of the New Yorkers, them want to go parade tomorrow, you know, bless you, you know, go enjoy on yourself. I can't manage them. I don't like big crowd, you know, people. You know, I don't like big crowd, you know. And I must say millions ago out there, 53 years. Just think about it. If somebody are 50, 51, 52, if somebody are 52-year-old in a New York, them don't know what it is like for the New York Knicks win a championship. Right? So everybody in them 20s, 30s, 40s, just think about it. They have never seen, you know, even seen you know, when the major league teams win, them have a parade, right? So they've never seen a parade for the New York Knicks. I think it's gonna be crazy out there tomorrow, you know. All bus and subway free until October. Who said that? Sandy, where you get that from? Anything go so? Sandy 01, anything go so? Me not hear about that. You know how much money that them would have give it till October? Not no go so. Not no go so. I don't know where you get that from. Now put them something there in the chat, man. Cause nothing no go so you can't no put them something there in the chat. Alright, Sandy, no be it up my chat them way there. Yeah, please. Don't do that. Don't do that. right? Don't be a took my chat them way there and thing and whatever, make people go think say are true and whatever. Cause there's nothing like that, and them nah give us so much money. You know how much money they make a daytime, you know how much money it costs per day for run them bus and train there, and nothing normal. Right? So don't do them something there in my chat, Sandy, please. Man, I like them carelessness there. All right? Donna Sprinkle, where you say good night from London. Big up yourself, you know. All who there in London and thing, large up on yourself. Everything is everything. Big up on yourself, see it? Hershey Pie, what's going on? You're good? All right, people, tell me what I'm going with it. Tell me what's new. Let me read it. Let me see what. Gonna give me some update. What I go on? 1 year out the road where the streets are set. Yeah. Next chemical large up. And come on, give me some update. Let me hear what I go on. Hershey Pie says she blessed. Very good. Very good, very good. We like that. Doreen Warnes, big up yourself. You know, Chrissy, what's up, good ass? Come, wanna give me phone an update now. Let me see what I go on. Let me see if the YouTube people they must say anything or whatever. Oh, them just over here telling one another greetings. Chokisha, Joan Lock, Java, Chacha, and thing. Why this thing a vibrate me ears, someone? And, do. Me I see one I say no, me I see one I say nothing. So nothing I go on. Yes, me say that that the Jamaican government, I don't know if I asked the United States, asked them or a volunteer, Jamaican volunteer, but them volunteer for take deportees from the United States. That is, for those of you who don't know, the United States has been looking for countries to accept deportees who not come from them country, right? So they've been looking far and wide. Ecuador, all over in Africa, and all in right name there, not Botswana, right name there, near to Kenya there. All them did I go take people to and all these things and whatever. And them get the country their money. So I don't know if it's the United States ask Jamaica to do it or Jamaica volunteer to do it, forget the money. We don't know how I go on, but supposedly Jamaica said them will take up to 10,000 deportees in our country. So Jamaica I support the United States thing, you know? For the United States deport people to countries where them not come from. So if you come from Ecuador, you come from Senegal, you come from I don't know what the protocol is, the way they decide who goes where. But the idea is, you know, the United States is a country that have people from all over the world who overstay and them something there. So I don't know what the protocol is, but right now on the surface, it's like if somebody can come from Fiji and get deported to Jamaica, right? So Jamaica, I don't know if this has been ratified, but apparently Jamaica has expressed a willingness, and I don't know if it was done voluntarily, right? I don't know if Jamaica did it of its own volition or the United States asked Jamaica to do it, but it is public record now that Jamaica has expressed a willingness to do it and forget the money. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but there's some interesting things going on out there. So yeah, we have that on the table. What else? What else are going on there? What else do you know are going on there? What else are going on the road? The World Cup are going. England beat Croatia, must have 4-2. The Democratic Republic of the Congo draw with who them draw with again? And draw with one big side, Portugal. What are some of the interesting results out there? I have some other interesting things that go on, results out there, you know. Ghana play Panama right now in Toronto. Ghana, I want to win, you know, because I know say me a Ghana baby long time. Me a Ghana baby, big up the ancestors, right? A Ghana, I want to but big up Panama too, you know, because we have, yeah, well Argentina win 3-0. Who Argentina did play? Well, I'm not say Messi get a hat trick and Messi scored the 3 goal. If Argentina win 3-0 and them say Messi get a hat trick, and Messi scored the 3 goal. What? And that time when the boss come back with them, whatever, you know, when I twin and to Argentina, you know, them not like we, me not like them, but me like Messi though. Me like Messi though. Me like Messi. Me like Messi. My spirit take him. Me not swear for him, you know. Me not swear for him, but me just say my spirit take him, you know. Yeah, German whop up aside. I want must say 7 in game, but you see the black people they on them big side, eh? And them are going like them not like we, you know, but when it's convenient for them take with contribution down. And then as soon as that done, them are going like them want to come fling we out of them place, like I know we are get them ratings. Like when I bring value to the thing for a long time, don't. For a long time we bring value to the thing. Why you think them go all over the Atlantic for we? Cause we good so. And so them eat we, and so them rape we. And Chrissy say Chelsea, she say, a World Cup I do it now, Chrissy. I know I say no found no Jamaicans, you know, on a running on them side, the big side, them over there. Jamaicans in England side, Jamaicans. Arsenal, crazy Jamaican. Man U, crazy Jamaican. You see when Man U did that do good, you see how much Jamaican did it on Man U side. And Man U not 200 right now and whatever. You know, whole heap of Jamaicans out there are lacking for Man U, you know. One thing with me, you know, my side of Tottenham, you know, anybody can tell you. So from donkey years ago, I mean, Tottenham at Spurs. All when Spurs, they're at the bottom of my barrel. Right? Right? Spurs don't do good right now, and I still Spurs, me say, yeah? I still Spurs, me say. Years ago, you know, when Man U did that shell down the place, you know, every Jamaican in a Man U, them say, Man U, Man U, Man U, Man U. You notice, you know, see that now? You notice, you know, see that now? Years ago when Man U did that do well, you know, City never did that do well, you know, Manchester City never did that do well, you know. You could have hardly find a Jamaican a cheer for City. Back then. City a shell down the thing right, you know. The amount of Jamaicans me a cheer for City right, you know. Wagonist them, man. Wagonist. Yeah. Yeah, and look what I'm running for Liverpool and Salah too. And well, yeah, one thing I've said about the Gunners people them do for a long time, you know, them Gunners, them, you know, the Gunners people them cheer for Arsenal and thing, them always lie. I've never said that about them. Them hold them thing right through. Right? Gunners fans them hold them thing right through. But you see, Chrissy, they say Chelsea, she say, me ratted. Years ago, no Jamaican a cheer for Chelsea. No Jamaican a cheer for Chelsea. The Liverpool, Man U, them not even in the my side, Tottenham, whatever. Liverpool, Man U, some Arsenal and whatever. Them never in no Chelsea and no nothing and whatever, but them, you know. Chelsea did a shell down the thing one day too, you know. Chrissy said Chelsea, she said. But I can't bet you know, say Chrissy started cheering for Chelsea must say like 2, 3, 4 years ago, you know. Chrissy talk the truth. And when you start cheering for Chelsea. Chrissy, when you draw for Chelsea, Chrissy, talk the truth. Now what year? Now about 2, 3 years ago or so. Or probably last year. Or probably this year. Talk the truth with God love, Chrissy. Come on now. Come on now. Good night, Kay. See, one Chrissy don't want to answer. Because she knows she have to go tell the truth, you know. Say, what the... Chrissy said 15 years she a cheer for Chelsea. She lies, man. Chrissy make you lie, so. Cookie man, she's over 10 years she a carry Chelsea. Them lie, man. I be a lie, them I tell you, know. I be a lie, them I tell. About 10 years and 15 years. Chrissy probably don't even know nothing about football 10, 15 years ago. I would have rain world, so Raga Wagwan. You know, some day I give thanks. We think proper and thing, you see me? My day, you know. People want to listen to something, you know. All right, a part 1 and part 2. So let me play part 1, right? So this is from a radio show. Them usually, them do one dating thing. So if 2 people go on a first date and one person ghosts them, the person who get ghosted will call the radio show, and they make the radio show call the person, and them dip on the line, but the person knows them dip on the line, and then them ask them and say, yo, you go on one date, what day, you know? And the person say, you ghost them, I want go on, and then the person will usually tell them more, and it's usually funny. It's usually funny, okay? It's usually funny. And then now, them bring in the person and say the person up on the line, you know, and wait. And after them have a conversation, them usually say, well, if you don't want to go back on a second date now, we will pay a fee and thing. And sometimes them go on a second date and sometimes them not go on a second date. All right? So that is how the feature go. That is how the thing go in the Panda show there. But listen this now, you know, and then you get the second date up there.
Get her a second date, but before we do that, Teresa,
hold on. Someone want to hear that one, you know. Oh, is this thing too loud? All right, hold on, I want to tell.
Teresa is on the phone and she's getting ghosted by a guy named Hudson, so we're about to call him and see if he'll tell us why he's ghosting her and maybe get her a second date. But before we do that, Teresa, why don't you remind us again why you think Hudson might be ghosting you?
I think he's ghosting me because he's scared to get mauled by a cougar.
I mean, that sounds like a big bite, girl. So it's because you're like 17 years older than him, but he didn't know that until you guys actually went out on your date, right? And you think that might be scaring him off?
I think so, yeah, maybe.
Okay, you didn't growl at him like that on the first date, did you?
I didn't. I was a little more restrained, but not much.
Oh, you should have. That would have saved it. All right, well, let's see if that is the reason. We're going to call him right now, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep, here we go.
Hello?
Hi, may I speak to Hudson, please?
Yeah, this is him.
Hey, Hudson, how are you? This is a radio show. It's called The Jubal Show.
Hi, Hudson. I'm Nina. Hi, I'm Victoria.
And my name is Jubal. What's up?
Oh, hey guys.
Hey. Have you ever heard the show before?
No.
You haven't? Okay. Cool. Well, it's a radio show, and it's called The Jubal Show.
You know now.
And and we have a segment on our show, and it's called The First Date Follow-Up. So that's where if you go out on a date with somebody, and you end up ghosting them, that person can email us to get you on the phone and find out why you're ghosting them. And we got an email about you from somebody.
Oh, okay. All right.
Any idea? Is there somebody that you are ghosting right now that you think would want us to get a hold of you and find out why?
I got a pretty good idea who it is.
Who do you think it is?
Her name is Teresa.
Yeah, it is Teresa. Teresa, we talked to her a little bit about your date, and she's confused. She said she liked you a lot and doesn't understand why, after you guys went out, you completely just kind of like stopped talking to her. Would you mind telling us?
Well, this is awkward, but I think she's my mom.
What? I'm sorry. Plot twist question.
You think she's your mom?
Why do you think that?
Okay.
Like, actually, you actually think she's like legit your mom, or is that just like them like a coach?
Like mommy?
No, like actually my mom. Like, okay, so we met at a bar, had great chemistry. It was great. We chatted and we connected instantly. And then I asked her out the next night. We had dinner. We walked around the park. It was great. And also, I should mention that I'm adopted, and I have been searching for my birth parents for about a month now.
Okay.
And so when we were walking in the park, there were things that Teresa mentioned that makes me think she might be my mom.
Really?
Like she's around the same age, where she's from. The fact that she played soccer in high school, and here's the kicker, and this will really freak me out. She mentioned that when she was younger, she had a baby and she gave it up for adoption.
Oh,
now I'm thinking it was me she gave up.
That would freak me out too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like,
because she's
spiraling over here.
You're attracted to her
I
mom.
want to like talk to her.
Yeah, because she's older than you. Man, that'd be crazy if it was. Well, thank you for telling us why you're ghosting her. I guess I can kind of understand.
Yeah.
Understand that. But Hudson, Teresa is on the phone and wants to talk to you.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
She's on the phone right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awkward, but okay.
No, this is good. Now you can find out.
Teresa?
Oh, boy.
Oh, God. Please don't tell me I wanted to make out with my son.
I don't know. Do you feel like he could be your son?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, like, what do you know about your birth mom?
Hey, Teresa, sorry. I'm really sorry about ghosting you, but I just really thought you might be my mom, and it freaked me out, so I just kind of shut down.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's what I know from the adoption agency. They told me that my mom was about 17 to 19 years older than me. They told me she has dark brown hair and green eyes. And Teresa had mentioned that she got migraines. And I was told in my medical history that migraines run in my family on my mom's side, and I also get them. And so now I'm like, well, this is too many coincidences to be
right.
So I'm really freaking out. So then the adoption agency said she was a soccer player, and Teresa mentioned that, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then during the date, she mentioned that she had given up a child for adoption when she was younger, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Teresa, that's all I know about my birth mom, but honestly, it sounds a lot like you.
I mean, okay, but when's your birthday?
Oh, good question.
It's August 13th.
Teresa?
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
That's the day I gave birth.
No
What?
way.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not
Wow.
Is this...
Not being...
Sir, I don't know this radio show. Is this a prank show? Am I being pranked right now? Like,
No, not at all.
That'd be messed up.
Not one
oh my
bit.
gosh.
Wow. Okay. So you were born. So Teresa, you did give up a child for adoption and all the things that he was just saying sound a lot like you. And then Hudson, your birthday's August 13th, and that's when you gave birth to Teresa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my birthday, yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Well, normally this is the point where we go, hey, you guys want to go on another date? But I don't know. Would you guys want to get a paternity test done?
Maternity test?
Maternity, whatever it is. Maternity test. However you find out, if you guys are related. We'll pay for it or however to get it done. If you guys come back on the show and let us know, because
oh my gosh.
I want to know.
Yeah, I definitely am down.
Wow.
Okay. Well, congratulations then. You guys got another date at the doctor's office to find out Hudson is your son and Teresa, you're Hudson's mom. That's crazy. So, all right, we'll figure it out, and we'll you guys will come back on the show when you get the results.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, it'd be crazy if it's real, but yeah, no, I'm down.
Okay. And Teresa?
Yeah, I agree. I'm in shock. I definitely want to do the DNA test, and oh my God, I think I'm wanting to make out with my son.
Oh, okay. No, don't think about it that way.
Ay, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, boy. Thus far, you know, man, I tell you, you know, that's why. Yeah, let me just say on the internet, something you don't know what to believe, you know, but some of them sound interesting. And some of them sound believable, reasonably believable. And it just goes to show, you know, you have to be careful out there, you know, like all them man they were wild out and a picnic all boat and all them something there. And how many times we see man end up go there with him sister, woman end up go there with her brother, I don't know. Father end up go there with daughter. Yeah. Son and mother end up go there. Yeah, that happened. That has happened. That has happened. All right. That has happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, send it to me, CBS. Send it to me. All right. I mean, me deal with it to another day, but this is the follow-up door. This is the part 2. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
We've gotten the results back. They said it would take about 2 to 5 business days to get the result.
Oh, by the way, I just edited it down to the part where I don't really need it because they said they did a recap and all this stuff or whatever, but I just edit it down to the part where really matter, right? So these are the follow.
We've gotten the results back. They said it would take about 2 to 5 business days to get the results back to see if Hudson and Teresa are in fact mommy and son.
Why? Yeah.
Anyway,
That's right.
But we got the test back to see, and now they're on the phone to give us an update on that because we don't know what the results are. Hudson, Teresa? Hey.
Hi.
That was crazy, and everybody obviously has been talking about it since, and everybody's waiting to find out if you guys did actually go on a date and you're mom and son.
Oh, we don't have to live here that long. We just want to know the good news.
Yeah.
If there is good news.
So what happened?
I have to say, I was nervous as hell after our call, but we did the DNA test, and Hudson is my son.
Whoa.
Wow.
Nuts.
Man, Hudson, that's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
I just want to be clear, Hudson and I will not be dating ever.
Yeah, glad to hear about that.
Ever.
Sure, yeah.
So happy you guys did not make out on your first date. So happy. I bet you guys are happier that you didn't.
Yeah.
my spidey senses were tingling. I was like, we're not going to kiss her goodnight on the first date. And I'm so glad I went with my instinct. I don't think I could live with myself if we did that.
That's crazy.
My mind is blown. I feel like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Nuts, man. And you said you've been searching for your birth mom for about a month before you went on this date with Teresa, and then she does the first day follow up, and finding out that is your mom. Are you guys gonna
hang out?
Hang out? Yeah. I mean, how does that work?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll hang out in a very different context.
If you think about it, you guys knew something was special about the other person, which is why you gravitated towards each other in the first place. So
that's not explaining it.
Well,
there was a connection. It was just not the one we were thinking of.
Right.
For sure. And you guys are part of that connection too. You're part of our journey.
Hey!
This is really crazy.
Yeah, I at first was excited because I thought he was hot. Now I'm just proud because I thought he was hot.
Okay. Yeah, girl, you made it.
Just proud of your hot
Good genes, what can I say?
There it is.
Yeah, that line is funny. At first she was excited because she thought he was hot, but now she's just proud because she thinks he's hot, Proud mommy. Well, if there's ever was a time when, you know, the raga mantra, don't run in, don't rush, right? No, but sometimes if it was, you have to confident and step to your thing, you know, right? You have to have confidence, you know. Yeah, you know, you have confidence and you have Cookie Monstress confidence, you know. We'll beat you up and take it, like Cookie Monstress. She would do that, a fear thing. She probably laugh and cuss me, you know. Right? So you have confidence and you have Cookie Monstress confidence, right? Boom. But you have a confidence, you know. But you have calm confidence and you have aggressive confidence. You see what I say? Yeah, some people in a rush, man. And love rush. And run down things and all these things. You see what I say? And if ever there was a situation that, you know, telegraphs, Raga, I love your teeth. Okay, Cookie Monstress. You know, when Cookie Monstress said them something, they have to be careful. You know, people say, Raga, Raga, when you say something, we have to be careful with you. You have to be careful with Cookie Monstress too, you know. When Cookie Monstress says, Raga, I love your teeth, there's a high probability that she's someplace else, you know. Yeah. She can see the teeth in a context where if you're not, it's Cookie Monstress, okay? But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I think I said don't run in and thing, and sometimes you have to bill and you see that something here. Sometimes you can't rush something too much and not listen to your instincts, you know. Yeah, man. How many times you go do something cross a certain line with somebody and go do something and whatever, and then it just end up awful. And when it end up awful, and yeah, in retrospect, you made the thing and you say the nature of the awfulness, that you had seen some flags that directly correlated with the awfulness. When you say, I didn't know, you know, because I see someone saying you're going to do it and you're like, boom, boom, boom. But you see it, but you never know definitively. But it's like you sense it and feel it. I think sometimes, you know, if we just kind of make our energies flow, you know what I say? You can feel if you have somebody compatible, you know. You can feel if you have somebody gel, you know. They may look good. They may money may turn up. They may good looking. They may this and that. But, you know, when you're there around them, you know, you feel like an imbalance. You say, nah, man, she look good, you know, but something off, something I don't know about something off. Yo, when you don't feel them something, them, man, and if you trust them thing, them, man, and about to make the looks and the money, or sometimes even if you start juggle with somebody, right, and all the start to turn up, that confuse enough people, you know, and start to turn up in and people think that is a match. So some people think them in love. Yeah, because we connect like ever. I tell you, start to mind blowing. You could have the greatest sexual chemistry with somebody and think and be so incompatible in other ways, or that person have some qualities where you're just like, we ain't gonna do good in a relationship, or right? Don't run in. Exactly, K. Your gut, I tell you something. I'm say your gut. Me say always I say this thing that the gut thing that is illogical until TamFam them first educate me about this, and then I go ask doctor and them say, yep, it's true. That there is a, you know, your brain up here, so right? That there is a gut brain also, you know. I thought that was like silly and whatever, but there are some doctors in Jamaica at times say, no, there's scholarship to that effect. And I said that there, you know, we have our central nervous system, our peripheral nervous system, or come down through our back, But they must say that there are things going on. You know, like you have synapses in your brain and whatever. They're saying some brain, some kind of sickness going down in your belly, in your gut, in your core. Oh, by the way, I don't understand it. I'm not qualified to speak on it, so I won't even attempt to act. Well, I won't even attempt to act like I know about it. I haven't even read on it. But as I tell you where I was dismissing it and saying, yeah, people are chatting them foolishness and whatever, this and that. And I saw my Dr. Bridging them and said, no. There's some truth to that, and there's scholarship that attests to that and whatever. So the term your gut instinct, yep, there might be some significant validity to that, don't it? Your gut instinct, how you feel it in your gut, right? Of course, we're not yet at a stage in society where we can explain what exactly are the connections that lead to that. But we feel it though. We don't have any definitive scientific explanation. They say, this is what is happening when you go around somebody and you feel you know them for 50 years. Or when you go around somebody and you just like them, you just feel this attraction, this energy to them. You don't know nothing about them. You never live with them. You just meet them. You just know them. And y'all know them at the same time. You know 10 other people too. But that person, you just feel this thing and you're like, what the hell is this? Them not an explanation for it, but it's undeniable that we feel it. Well, all human beings experience some version. Most people experience some versions of that. But them can't explain it. But it's there. And if it's there is an explanation for it. We just don't know what the explanation is because we're not that advanced yet. And we probably not going to know in our lifetime. But probably 100 years, 200 years, 300 years from now, they're going to be able to say, okay, this is what is happening when two people who don't know each other and they meet and you never even touch, but you're feeling something. Isn't that weird? You can there on 4 people, 5 people, 8 people, and somebody will look upon you and you feel something, right? I'm sure ladies experience this, right? You were there somewhere, like you're used to going somewhere, and when you dress and you look good, man, I look upon you and thing, and man, always eyeball you and whatever. Right? Ladies are not used to that. You will all somewhere and 3, 4 man I look upon you because you're used to that. But then a one man will all look upon you and you start feel something for that one person and you're like, I don't know him. I don't know him, but why me I feel this to that person? No, it's not infatuation. Infatuation is something different. Infatuation is a big word synonym for like a crush. I'm not talking about crushes, right? Usually when people have a crush, it's crushes usually based on infatuation and crushes are usually based on established criteria, you know. But you can have a crush from that type of almost cellular attraction, yeah, but crushes in general is different from what me I talk. You know what I talk about, you know, right? When you have a crush, most people have a crush, them know something about the person. Even though you can have crush on what me I talk about. But most people who have crushes, them know things about the person, and that is what fuel the crush. What me I talk about is when you don't even know somebody. What me I talk about is when you feel the energy and the attraction, and you're like, I'm not supposed to be feeling this. That or something you're like, me don't want nobody, so why am I feel this with a person? Or she's not my type, he's not my type. Why am I feeling this? And that me I talk about a different something from crush that. Right? Well, it's like an instant connection. That's exactly what me I talk about, right? Call name them still as an infatuation, and me just tell you an infatuation me I talk about. Right? infatuation are one different. So again, infatuation is like a crush. Me I thought this thing and this connection thing, like an instant, whatever, you know. Yeah, undeniable vibes are connection. Yeah, that's something there, whatever. Chemistry, yeah, you have them term defeat, you know, and whatever, you know. Yo, me know people say them have them something there, you know, and it's so strong, you know. That's all. All right, me have a friend. I wonder where she are going right now. She did go somewhere, go live in a summer sort of. She did in a one relationship. And she meet one man at one event. And she feel like something there. And she say, that man, they are trouble. And she tell me, she said, I do not want that man, but me just a feel him. Me just meet him and I feel him something. And she tell me, say, yo, at the time, she said, no, I'm good with my man. Because she have her man, you know, she good with him. She say her man great. She says a wonderful man she have, and she not left her man and she not look at other man. But she say anytime she run a man, her body just what she said, I don't even know the man like that. Right? And she end up interact with him 1 and 2 times, whatever. And cut long story short, she go end up in the one there on him at a certain spot or whatever, and then such and such happen. And them time me did I make the argument them time about with them people about it just happened and whatever. Man, them people there, nobody can come tell me about it just happened. You make a choice for it happen. Yeah, you may feel a strong urge, but you did make a choice and whatever. Because me can tell you about people, me know enough people, them feel strong urge and things and still never do it and avoid the people, they made choices and things. So at the time, me argue and I said, it just happened thing is foolishness. You still make a choice. And she said, yes, she made the choice, but, you know, some choices harder for make than some, which I agree with. And them end up doing something. But the reason why I'm telling about this is that she end up, I said, the weird thing with him is, she said never in her life she experienced this with any man. She said as soon as him, anytime, at the first time I'm just answer, she said as soon as him go in her living room, she said she had a multiple. She said she never had a multiple in her life yet. And she just have a multiple when him go in there. And then she said after that, you know, she end up about her man. And she said that man, she said she don't know what it is, but it's just like there's a synergy between them that once them do, she just a pop off, so a pop off, so a pop off. So she just have the energy, the theme and whatever. She end up finding the wherewithal for avoid him and thing and whatever, and he move on to and whatever. But I'm just reminded of it because she said at the time it's just baby lips big up. It's just you can't have that connection there. No, many of you experience that, you know. You experience that with people, right? You know, I juggle with somebody who do nothing extra, anything extraordinary, but anytime such and such happens, it's just the chemistry is just explosive and thing, yeah? And you know, just like effortless. It's just effortlessly. It's just there. It's just that little chemistry there with you and the person. But then when you match it out the person, there's nothing extraordinarily impressive about the person. There's nothing on, you know? In fact, you can look back and say, no, you dated cuter guys and you have this and that. And you dated men with more resources and you have so and so and whatever. But you just experience a thing there with that person. Society not able to, we still not able to explain that yet, you know. But if this is true, me agree with them, say, there is something there, some energy there where them they gel with, you know? Where them drawn to each other, mother-son thing. Right? mother-child thing. Right? Me feel that's something that exists. And I know many stories, many things over the years. Most of them I just hear them. Right? I don't know if you know the hear about this story, like them the thief this picnic from this mother. Right? Them thief this picnic from the mother. And like you said, 18 years later, 20-something years later. But the mother didn't know the baby, you know, from when an infant. And 18 years later, the mother there somewhere. This is crazy, you know. Well, if it's true, but apparently it's true because she did find back her child. But the mother there somewhere, you know. And fathers, this is on a phone time right now. Men on a phone time. We're talking about the woman them, you know, right? We're talking about the woman them. So you know, so the woman says she there somewhere must be 18, 20 years. Sometimes it was a long time, I mean years that. And like she said she there at the mall and she just feel something, you know. And she start tell the people who she there with like, me feel my pitney, me feel my pitney, me feel my pitney. And like the relative them I said, what you mean? Because she did have pitney after that. And but she know her daughter name was her daughter. And say her daughter name, you know, Shelly. She said, me feel Shelly there, man. And things her relative, they must, you know, them start console her and, you know, them like, you know, I don't know. So she named Pat. Them are like, oh, Pat, oh my God, Pat, I'm so sorry. And them I can't. And she tell him, say, no, me sense her, right? So them I think that she get mad. And she said she sends her daughter, her daughter there. She look round. And the relative, them a follow her and I say, okay, we need to go home. And she said, no, me feel her, she there. And she look around like she in a mall or somewhere she there, one public place though. And she said she feel her daughter. Remember, I didn't thief her daughter from her daughter infant, you know. And the daughter baby, you know, so she not see. But she said she feel the daughter. And them not see her daughter and thing, and them carry her home and thing. Then after that now, she never say it again, you know, because she never feel that before, you know, but she not say it after. So even after that now, them talk about it and, you know, like them, like our relative, them were reason with her and I say, we know, you know, because you go through it, you know, when them thief you pick me, you know. But, you know, so I saw them thing just come up back and you remember your pitney. And she said, no, remember my pitney. Remember my pitney every day. Right? So she said, as a mother, she said, no, I remember my pitney every day. So I don't know, remember my pitney and I miss my pitney, all right? I may reach a point after so many years where I manage it better. She explained, you know, but she said, that day them feel something different. She was there. And I'm tell her, I said, boom, boom, boom. You know, say something happened where the woman who the thief the daughter now. How it go? The woman who the thief the daughter have one relative. So when that woman they got dead, the relative I tell the woman say, you know, say you really should have tell the daughter. Should I tell your daughter say you're not really her mother? And the one who are dead, I said, no, we can't cause them stress upon her. And she said, no, you never know and whatever. So she tell the relative, said, don't tell the daughter. The relative not do nothing more than go tell the daughter. The daughter go to the woman who she know as mother now, and I say, she tell me. And she said, well, and the daughter talk to her and whatever. And she end up and said, I'm sorry, and this and that, and whatever. So that now make it daughter now go search. After the daughter search, how long the daughter search and whatever and do a fear investigation, hire somebody and do it. The daughter find her mother. Big reunion and sitting and whatever and thing like that. Yeah, find her mother. After the daughter find her mother and them reunite and thing and when you know them something that could be like, overwhelming and emotional and all them something there. So them reuniting now, a mother daughter know each other and and interact for a while now and thing. So one day like it come up and like a relative that I say, yeah, she miss you, And one day, even how many years after them take you gone and whatever, she still miss you and all, lose it over you and whatever. Like she them that say, one day we all in a mall, and she just start ball and I say you're dead, and whatever, and ray, And she'll go through it and whatever. And the mother said, me not care more and say me feel. And the mother said, tell me something. So and so and so and so and so. And I ask the daughter, and when them a go back now and whatever, the daughter said, yeah. Me go that like the daughter said, me go that mall all the while. Remember, boom, boom, boom. Day when them a go back for the day, the daughter said, yeah, me the day of the mall a day there. The daughter say she the day at the mall that day. Remember say she and the mother good now, And the day when the mother flip out, and like the mother said, nah man, the daughter they near me. After them don't even pick me much 18 years or whatever, boom, boom, boom. Like the mother said, no man, she there, me feel her presence. Me feel me pick me. Me feel me pick me presence here. Me pick me there. And them I say, I'm mad, man. Look for when them teeth you pick me, man. 18, 20 years ago, or however how long. Only for find out say the daughter they didn't have the mall that day there. Me not have no mall, don't quote me upon that. But it was somewhere public. And the daughter they did it. The daughter they did it. And that's why me say when you hear them something and what I'm telling about my mother friend, my mother, me don't telling about my mother friend already, When me pick them, me see she do that, Or when my mother church woman and she there among Sister Mushet and them and whatever over Sister Mushet yard, right? Sister Mushet yard upon Windward Road, almost in front of where the JUTC bus depot there. Right on a road, right you have to say they in front of it. Right? You see that road they will go up like you go up in a hill, up a hot steppers gang them, you see the Warwick hillside, Sister Mushet here the right eye corner. Right? That right there, so when you're there on Windward Road, just before you go down that little hill there, if you go down and there you see flour mill on your left and you hold the left and you're there on the road for go up past what name there. At this so Sister Mushet yard with there. Right? I'm telling you, say, we did there and thing, and one of my mother church sister does bawl out, scream out, blood curdling scream and whatever, frighten everybody and thing. And just hold her belly so. Hold her belly so and just dip on. Yeah. And them I say, I want, but you see, my mother and for them thing is just for prayer, one thing, prayer. So them do that something there where the whole of them come around and is that them do that, church people do that thing there, Them rest them hand upon you and everybody a pray at the same time. And them I ask her, I want, and she not answer. And like she named Sister Brown, I say, Sister Brown, I want. And I see her, so she just swing her body and thing, and nah, I said, nothing, yo. This is what me see with my 2 years, them, Oh. Time I pick me. But my member clear. And she not answer, and them pray for her. And them leave her, but them I watch her. Them thing a woman go and thing, And them I watch her. And them ask her if she want to eat. Them I try to get her to eat, and she not eat. And she just did it. And she did it for a good 2-3 hours. I do the same thing, and them I watch her. And one man, then when we did it, one man Rush come up in a sister Moshet yard. And like him ask, yeah, like she named Sister Brown. Him say, "What Sister Brown? What Sister Brown?" And so my mother and I say, "What?" And I say, "What Sister Brown? What Sister Brown?" And I say, "She there." And when him a go up to her, she comes so. He said, like she have a son named Mikey. And when him a go up to her, she don't even look upon him. She don't even look upon him and run up, you know. She don't even look upon him. She comes so. Me know Mikey dead. Mikey dead. Me know Mikey dead. And me turn up there and see man say, "How you know?" Ochi Mikey dead, you know. Car accident kill him. And the man say, right after him dead and everybody say him dead and carry him, man say him jump on a bus. Them time the cell phone and them something, you know. Cell phone and them something, you know, they both. And whatever, right? And we in our world, we never have phone. You know, when we grew up, we never have no phone, right? We never have no phone. When we grew up, uptown people have phone. The dial phone, the rotary phone, them, we not have phone I get up, right? So basically, I say, "Oh, you know," because when it happened, me jump in a bus right after, and you know, bus have to drive all the way from Ochi come. Them time they when have a pretty smooth road for it reach quick and all and sitting there and whatever. So you know, it have to go up through Fern Gully and Ray, and stop 10 million times before it reach town and what. Pay phone. Me there at top post here, man. Them time that we don't use pay phone. Right? We don't use pay phone. Right? Pay phone never there get. This is a me. You think me young? Pay phone never there get to them time there, right? Believe it or not, pay phone never there where we did them time there. Pay phone never there on, right? Right? Pay phone combo at one time where at the time it didn't need cable and wireless. And pay phone did combos and them did have one thing named ICAS. You have to have your ICAS number. And I saw people just their pay phone and she calling right there. Them time then when you want to make foreign call, I want place named Jamming Tell with it have to go Duke Street and North Street corner. Thank you. Thank you, Carlene M21. We did have to go one place named Jamming Tell. I want big building, one big. For we, I know really skyscraper like New York City, Manhattan. But for we, it was big building, one big building, right? It named Jamming Tell. And it did there North Street and Duke Street corner, diagonal from one church the other corner over the other side. I want to know you go one block down, Gleaner Company down there. So who know me I talk about, right? Jamming Tell, right? You know, Fletcher's Land, the back I go up and think Eros Park, if you go right up Eros Park. Right? And there's a people go for make foreign call them time there. P4 never dey on the road. You understand? So me I tell you how long. And she said, like she just said, she goes and said, "Me know Mikey dead." And the man I said, "But how you know that?" Because I watch it happen. And me jump on a vehicle come down and say, "Me have to make you know." Right? Somebody said the Jewish church you talk about. No, you know, the Jewish church, they're on Duke Street, you know, but you have to go down look more. I think the Jewish church at the corner, Duke Street, and must say Charles Street. And then if you go down and past Beeston Street, you have Parliament, you know, God knows. If you go down on your right, you know, right? You go down, and if you go down further, you have St. George's Girls' School on your left, and they have St. Aloysius, then you have Sutton Street and whatever. So it's not the Jewish, the Jewish, see the Katie, I think Katie right, is a Moravian church. You know, the Jewish church, that one block down, the Jewish synagogue, they don't call it church. The one block down at the corner, Charles Street and Duke Street. Right? You think it's a Moravian, I don't know what, but one church is there at the corner, diagonal from Jamming Tell. Right? And that's how we used to go make foreign call before phone booth come out on the road. You know what I say? But when I say the woman, Moravian, Katie Prosper say Moravian, so Katie know what she talk about. I want her in church, right? But she felt that as soon as her picnic dead, she feel it. And nobody tell me that one day. I can't tell her no things that one day. And nobody tell me that one day, right? So when me hear something now and I hear so one woman send tea for her picnic and whatever, and years later she does something and feel it. It's like a radar and whatever. Again, I'm trained in empiricism, and they said that the phenomenon must be observable and measurable for you to reach a conclusion that there's a relationship between those variables. Yeah, I'm trained that way. Those are the fundamentals of scientific inquiry and whatever. But enough thing, I always tell you, enough things science know now, what it never know 100 years ago and 200 years ago. But science just know it now, which logically means what science know now and can say it's true now was also true then. So it is still true 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Science just never know it yet, right? So not because you don't know the thing and you can't prove it with the scientific principles means say nothing no go so. All right? I take my teacher with that all the way. So, if we know enough something now, incredible things now what we know now, well, we never know 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It logically follows that enough something we don't know now, where people are going to know 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now. So all when you hear, that's why me humble with my degree, them and sitting there and whatever, because you can have 10 million degree and whatever, you still don't know that even 0.00001 about our existence and what really out there and whatever. Enough of the things them we know, we can't explain, but we feel them. And there is something going on there with us when we can meet a stranger and we hate them like a dose of poison. Old time Jamaican talk. And we hate them like a dose of poison and we spirit just not take them and them just make we cross. And we all struggle with it and I say, why me not like her? Why me not like him? After him not do me nothing, she not do me nothing. Me no know in time me there and I just cross. Or the converse, you there on somebody and I say, but me no know. Genuine there, me don't run that woman and like my body get charged or whatever. Me don't know what, me don't even know her like that or whatever. You see what I say? There is something going on there. Two people never had contact between each other, still not having contact and thing, but you're feeling some kind of energy. There has to be an explanation. There is an explanation. We just don't know what it is. And my argument has always been, whatever that explanation is, I think it represents the rudimentary element of a stronger version that mothers have with their children. Not all mothers, right? And I think there is some kind of, people just think about it, you know. When we watch a Matrix, you know, right? And the machine them have the people them and whatever, right? And the idea is that the machine I use the people them because them say we're just walking bodies of electricity. Like we have a lot of energy. And you see the whole concept in the Matrix, them, when them take your people, them have them in a water. Right? I want to understand that something there, right? Now, you know, like me always say to say water, you hear the term, water is a source of life. The body can't do without food, it can't do without water. And though somehow, learn certain things certain way, the most of the credible evidence out there, like really, really strong evidence. So in terms of our evolution as an organism, that we evolved from water. Like human beings, people go back up to, when humans became bipedal and all those things. But beyond that, it was like that we came from water, right? When they see where birth come into, I don't need to tell them that when I know that, right? When life are formed and life establish itself, it's done inside of the woman in a water. A water the life is generated in water. And a water, it has to be done in a liquid environment. To establish that life. Even after they pick the barn and they pick the frail and whatever, the establishment of that life must be done in water. And I'm talking about the Matrix and thing, and you see that thing that when them take out the something out of them head and the water run out and whatever, it's all deliberate, and thing and whatever. So we were a walking ball of energy. Right? If anyhow know, I'm not there for bore, and whatever, because I'm not nerdy and geeky like me. But when I was in school and I was learning anthropology, so we had a class. One of the classes I taught at the University of the West Indies is a class like anthropological theories. And some people teach that class with modern theorists and whatever, which is good and whatever. But I like to go back with the whole, Claude Levi-Strauss and them some people and whatever. But he did have a brother named Leslie White. But anyone who nerdy like me, I want to check out him scholarship. Long time, whatever. But theme thing was energy. Right? So I must say life and culture is all about energy. Right? So you can put in Leslie White, anthropologist, and just get the fundamentals of what he has to say. Now, once you understand energy, the fundamentals of energy are such that if you pay attention to it, you realize then that science can't really explain this thing. Yeah? Science don't really even know a quarter where I'm going, right? Follow me. We are now living in a time where I took up a phone and me dial and somebody in a Japan, Jamaica, whatever, hear me right away. And what happens when you do that? This phone send a signal to a cell tower where you can't see. That's energy. That cell tower, send it to a next cell tower, send it to a next cell tower, send it to a next cell tower. That is energy at travel where you now see. Connection, right? So to connect to this, that. Then it go connect to what is called a server, which basically is a big computer in your phone company. Energy. Then After I connect to that server now, that server may send it up to a satellite in a space. You not see this thing here, you know? Right? But it a travel go all the way thousands and thousands of miles up in a space in a satellite. Then the satellite send it back down now to a server in another phone company where I work with your phone company. So if your phone company are T-Mobile or Verizon or whatever, them I work with Flow down there or somewhere in Jamaica or whatever. Then the phone company, so the energy are going. You're not seeing this thing, right? Then that phone company now send it over to another tower, to another tower, to another tower, to another tower. And then when it reach out the tower that near you now, it send the energy down to your phone. And all of that happen in a second. Boom, you call. Boom, yeah, wagwan. I mean, you ever stop to even really appreciate how friggin' phenomenal that is? Now, you may say, yeah, that's technology. Yes, it's technology, but when we want you to understand, it is energy. Follow me back now to the matrix and then sitting there and whatever. And then I said, we are walking ball of energy. Like, to be human is to be loaded with energy, right? Neuroscientists, they don't even understand like 1/10 of what the brain does, right? But what they do know is that there are billions of what they call synapses in everybody's brain. And they're so microscopic and so nano mean, well, don't think about that. They're so small and they're so, minuscule. But just imagine billions and trillions of synapses that them a fire and a transport all kind of information and a whole bag of something a go on there. So what the neuroscientists them tell you them don't understand. Them still don't understand what go on in the brain when the brain a work, right? Them can't tell us, oh no, the corpus callosum do this and that and them know general certain things and whatever. But in truth, people, we're living in some very primitive time right now in terms of what we can do. There's so much that we can do that we don't even know we can do it. Right? But that's something there. Energy. Right? So if you follow what me I said thus far in terms of connections and whatever, energy, and it's invisible, you can't see, and you come around somebody and you feel them energy, and you don't know why you like that person or whatever, you feel, you just meet someone, you feel like you know them a long time and whatever because there's something going on there and whatever, you know? Or you have a relationship with somebody and you can feel. Some of you ladies, you have your girlfriends and your kids and your children, them could have pretend look more. Them could have pretend and look just as how them look all the time when you're around them. But once something go on in their mind, like what you feel it. And them look just the same like how them look every day, but on a feel shift from on friends and people on close with on children them or whatever. Do we wanna feel it? On say things like, yo, she come in and the place just get heavy. Wanna say that them something they wanna say. The place just get heavy. I wanna say, oh no, so it's a light up your room and thing or whatever. Energy we not talk about, you know. Energy we not talk about. Right? And I'm saying we don't even begin to understand not even 1% of that fully yet here. We're really primitive right now. But all I'm saying is that the energy there that we know on a primitive level say it exists because we feel it and experience it. My argument is to go back to the thing when we play earlier in the show, when the mother says she feel something from the youth and whatever, that she just want to maul him because she feel a connection with him and him end up being her son, which she did give up for adoption and whatever. You know, if the story go the way them say it go, and thing, then my argument, my theory is that when my doctor friend them tell me in Jamaica say, no, there is some functioning in your stomach that is comparable to what the brain does and whatever, and me did have a hard time I grasp that, because just like most of I was raised thing, I don't say try it down here, so right, your digestive organs and so forth, and what do you mean your brain in your gut? And but I guess on some level that we must have sensed it and whatever, because it has to be that so the thing come from where we say your gut instinct. Now I just feel it in my gut, man, my gut instinct and whatever. Right? Everybody say my brain instinct. People say my gut instinct. And that has been, that term has been quite resilient to being, outdated and whatever. That's been around, for a while. And it's like this whole thing, I said, no, man, I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my gut when people say them feel in my gut. And again, I say to you, I just think that women, even in our primitive state of not understanding it, I think we have had enough from women to say that there is some validity, from mothers, let me be clear, from mothers in particular, to say, that there's something going on there and we really don't understand it, right? There is some power, there's some superpower there that women have, that mothers have in terms of wagwan, yes, and simple something that baby just in there. I think there's some connections are established there. And I can remember I said that opinion, the dip on one, the umbilical sitting where connect to your brain, ladies. It connect to your brain and your whole of your bloodstream, your blood will run through you run through that child and whatever, and all them connections and whatever. And your brain and your synapses there, that whatever, this and that. You realize how deep that something there, and I want simple something that, So even when the child come out, the connection they still there, and the best way to understand it metaphorically is the Wi-Fi, like what I say, like cell tower and whatever, but there is something going on there. But we use terms like, I'm a sense it, I'm going to just go over there, I'm a sense it. And this mother, when I tell her, she said, them teeth are picking up how many years and whatever, and she can there somewhere in some mall or shop and whatever, I said, no, man, I sense my picking them, I feel my picking them on. Right, and people I say I'm mad, she am mad and things. She ain't a mad nothing. Right? Proven later on, after her daughter find her and thing, and everything balance up and them just attack and whatever. And the daughter say, yeah, me the dead of that day there. You understand? Right? But tell you no, both my friend, this are gonna be redundant for some of you, but for the people them who know hear me tell you now another one here again, Me have one sister in a Yukon, Everybody they thinks me and her are dugu, But I'm a sister, But she run good, because Yukon a big basketball school, And she run go there with big basketball star, Right? And them boy, they are go through the place, But she go catch feelings to me some man, But it hold down, you see what I say? But she make me know, and me know whatever, and people see me and her juggle and whatever, and I say, yo, Kingsley, you're blazing then. And me I said, no, me and her ain't nothing and whatever. I said, oh, she there with. But me nah boss pan her, because I nah make them know. Me I said, no, man, she have her people. I never see her with no man yet. Only you me see her with her, whatever. And everybody thinks that me and her and something. But I'm a sister, man. And she can reason with me and thing and whatever. And, you know, she go through her ups and down and she come talk to me and whatever. And she knows so I'm not going to look front from her. And that girl turn good too, you know, round up and set good, you know. But I know that's something there, you understand? So she knows so I'm not move to her and me. That's just my sister, man. And then Mr. Man go just tell her, I said, boom, you know. Because him they get drafted in the NBA, you know. I don't know him too, you know, but I don't call him. Well, that's a from UConn days, though, you know. That's a long time, you know. So, 90s, you know. I don't know him, though. Him they play for Miami. And they play for a side before that or whatever. But anyway, he broke up with her. And when he broke up with her, man, broken her thing and thing, good at beer balling, good at her, but she don't want to live anymore and whatever, and call me. So I go, so boom, and shot it go down now. Down her dam and thing and dead, and my girl up on the ground and ball and wall. Jimmy, big up yourself. And she a ball and beat him. I tell her, say, I never see her ball so yet. Like you know what we call cow balling and thing, and just hurting and in pain and whatever. And boom, her phone ring. But not cell phone, you know. She have her right name the phone, right? In time the cell phone did go about, but people did still use them. And right name the phone with the answering machine and everything. And when the phone ring now, she goes to bumps and look. And she see her mother call because the something come up. And she compose herself and then she, Mom, when her mother come on the phone, people, and you hear me telling her the thing with over Sister Mushet yard, I sit in me see with my own 2 eye. Me see this with for me 2 eye them and hear it with for me 2 ears them. As the mother come on the phone, the mother ball out her name and say, what's wrong? What's wrong? At the time she compose herself and answer her mother, you know. And she said, nothing is wrong. What's wrong with you, ma? And the mother there, no, sir, but what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong with you right now? And she holds it and she's like, Mom, there's nothing wrong. Why you feel something is wrong? And the mother just scream and the mother say, listen to me, tell me what's wrong. I pull over upon the highway. Or the mother there, California, you know. And we there towards Connecticut. The mother there upon the west coast and we there upon the east coast. The mother there far from we than Jamaica was far. But I don't know how far Jamaica is from me. I always use that as reference. The mother tell her, say, listen, I pull over upon the highway. Some well-known highway. I pull over upon the highway and thing and whatever. And I know say something wrong. So stop telling me say something wrong and whatever, because you know me now pull over upon the highway. And I said, why you pull over upon the highway for that is dangerous? And the man said, because I know say something wrong with you, I feel it. And stop telling me lie, I know something wrong with you. And I saw now she have to come out now and come tell her mother the truth, you know, she go through a terrible breakup and I saw the mother start calm down. You understand? And I saw the mother start calm down and she and the mother will look at meds and thing. And when the mother knows that she okay now and thing, and the mother say, yeah, she go pull over now and pull up back in the road and all them sitting there. Right? Me don't know if you explain it, but me I tell you what me see. Right? And you may say, what kind of the breakup or the big the breakup was a big deal for she. She's like, whatever going in her fear mind and her body and whatever. It was just like the end of the world. And when you're young and them time, then you go through some breakup, it's just like crazy, right? So the breakup was a big deal for she. So big that it caused something inside of her, you know, inside her body. You know, for kind of, I don't know, fireware or something or thing or whatever. So again, we are talking about energy. So whatever kind of energy that trigger in a fear body and whatever and thing will cause this kind of upheaval and this craziness inside her. Whatever it was, it triggered the same thing in her mother. Thousands of miles away in California upon the other side of the United States. Can I explain that? No. Can science explain it? No. Is it that there is no connection because science explain it? Science can't explain that. The connection did it. Right? Mothers experience this and feel this in smaller ways all the time. It's nothing new. Right? A whole heap of mother can tell you, say, sometime when I them pick me out and certain things reach them and thing, and when they come and they pick me, say them go through so and so, the mother say, you know, so around that time, at that time, them jump up out of my sleep and thing. And one heap of time, mother say them something there. Yeah, when the mother jump up out of her sleep, at that time, something did happen to them pick me, yeah? Enough time mother telling them something there. Enough time. Whole heap of times. Right? Them just to come out and announce them and all them something there and thing or whatever. So me I say something not go on there so. Right? Like mothers have some kind of superpower in your soul and whatever way. You know? And I said that them something bigger than we right here now. We can't even to fathom all that sitting there and whatever. You understand? So nobody can come tell me nothing, say nothing no go so. Something go so. We just can't explain it definitively and say this is what is happening. But they will be able to explain it in the future. Them just can't do it now. Right? Right? True this, I felt the same way when my first son was in danger. I jump out of my sleep and him did get well, that's a grape, right? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Trudy. Right, so no disrespect to fathers, you know, is this thing I may I say, I think all human beings have it, but it's something stronger with the mothers, and it's then there is a resultant energy from the establishment of that cellular connection, and that it can be explained scientifically, but we're just not there yet. But we do feel it. So this woman I know, you know, with she and her son, when we play earlier, you know. All right. Yeah, enough of we have them connection there and thing. Enough of we have them connection there and thing. That's what I said. You know that Einstein demonstrate mathematically that time travel is possible. Mathematically, you know, through math, that time travel is possible. Like, you know, we think of time as being linear. So if the past is the past and it done gone already and thing. But there is significant scholarship from theoretical physicists that time is not the linear chronological thing that we think it is, you know. And you know this whole thing about dimensional existence, that you can have a two-dimensional reality, like another world living right here with we, and we can't see them and them can't see we. Same thing with a four-dimensional reality and whatever. And all those things are energy-based. I know this might be a little bit too much for some of you. But again, those things are grounded in energy. They're fueled by something, you know? Who for tell if we can really talk to our ancestors? You never know. Talk again, evoking, yeah.
Greetings, TamFam. Good night, everyone.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Mas Raga lodge up yourself.
There, you know. There, man. At what time in England, you know?
1:30, what? 35?
1:35. Yeah, because at 8:35, you know. See?
I'm telling you,
You,
this show is bad for my health because I'm always up until 3 a.m. in the morning. It's not good. Sometimes I just cannot switch off, but it's good company in the nighttime. So
Right.
it's
Blessings, man. Blessings, man. You
Yeah,
have some interesting input here on this energy thing, no?
This is one of my favorite topics.
Right.
And it's interesting when you say we have a very primitive understanding. That the use of that word is interesting because actually it's very ancient technology.
Mm-hmm.
What some people don't know is that I am an energy healer. It's one of the many gifts that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I am trained in the ancient practice of Lomi Lomi. Have you ever heard of it?
No. What? Lomi?
Lomi Lomi.
Where is that from?
It's Hawaiian, of Hawaii, Polynesian origin, Hawaiian.
Hold on. Is it that thing where them do them thing, but them not, sometimes them not touch you and them
Right, good.
yeah. Oh, hold on. I think she got cut off. Check your phone. I don't know if you're accidentally. I don't know if you're hearing me, but if you are, you may have accident.
Hello,
Oh, you're
hello?
back. You're back. You're
Greetings?
back.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're talking about Reiki.
Oh, okay. I
Reiki. So
yeah.
when they place the hand over your body and it transmits a certain energy and it heals, let's say, a frozen shoulder, for example.
Does that really work? I see women screaming when people are doing it, and it really work.
Well, my practice and the practice of the field that I'm in, I don't do this all the time, but it's one of the strings in my bow. It is similar. It's in the same field. So ours is body work. So everyday people would say massage.
Right.
And we have you ever had a Thai massage when they lie you on the ground and they pull you and they stretch you and they bend you up? And have you ever had that?
I see it, but I've been to Thailand several times. I see them
Right.
doing it. Yeah.
You must treat yourself one day.
Okay.
Right. So Lomi Lomi, they call it the dance between two souls. So that already,
Okay.
yes, is very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I have had clients, when I finish with them, say they can feel the heat emanating from my hands, because it's not just your hand. You see that movement that you did? You know the elliptical, the sign of infinity that looks like an 8 lying down on its side, right?
Right.
So they say you work with hands that go as deep as the ocean, but are as light as the clouds. Listen to that poetry.
Okay.
And you work from the top to the bottom of the body, and you dance around the body, and it's breath work.
But
So
what do
you
you
use
do?
breath.
What do you do?
You put your hands on the body,
Yeah.
and you massage, and you have literally 5 key core movements. But depending on the soul that you are dancing with, you connect to the soul of that person. It's very deep,
Mm-hmm.
and it's energy healing. So hear the story now. This traditionally was used as rites of passage at the times of a rite of passage. So weddings, moving from the age of 7 into the next part of your childhood, entering teenagerdom, etc. Death, transitioning people from one phase of their life to the other. So in modern day times, you might say it's divorce. Maybe you've just finished college and you want to now start your career. Essentially, what you're doing is you're leaving behind certain of the old parts of this phase of life that you're transitioning from and moving into another one. And through the bodywork practice, we are releasing blocked channels of energy and opening up those blocks for the new energies to come in.
which naturally implies that the term that we use, that you're bringing luggage over, you bring luggage over another relation, you bring luggage over
Right.
in this new space where
Right.
that energy, if you're not aware of it, you can be bringing over that energy into a new space and sabotaging, the new space, and don't even know that you're bringing over that negative energy, don't you?
Absolutely.
And at the
So
same
when
time,
you-
you can bring over positive energy too, but
Also true.
saying it is one thing, but being aware of it, in a kind of metaphysical way is another.
Good.
And then being able to control it too and carry it with you and to intentionally and consciously say, okay, I feel it, I know what it is, I recognize it and carry it.
And it's powerful. And it is transformative work. I mean, I have had people who get up off the plinth, we call it a plinth, the massage bed.
Mm-hmm.
They literally forget which way they entered. Like, am I going left? Am I going right? Like, confused. You fly. Let me keep it grounded
No,
tonight.
but hold on. Have you ever had clients who said, this is bullshit, I ain't feeling nothing?
Nope.
You've never had anybody like that?
Nope. There was one man who was a healer himself. You see, when you're a healer yourself, you have certain veils. It's very interesting. You have certain veils. So you have certain expectations, perhaps. And he was almost correcting some of my technique. But he never said it didn't work or this is, BS. No. You see, somebody who's attracted to this kind of body work already has a sensibility. You're already in the field of, in the esoteric field. And most people, even what I've explained tonight, typically we don't even explain any of that. It's rites of passage work. I've had one client, there was a time when I used to go into people's homes. I went to her home. This was one of my children's mothers who we used to meet in the playground when we used to take them to school, primary school, So I went to see her.
Wait,
and
did you just said one of your children's mothers?
Yes. No, one of my children's friends' mothers.
Okay.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, that is evidence that I am listening, right?
Thank you. So
I was like, okay.
Now I did the floor work, the one that looks like the Thai body work on the ground. Okay, it's similar.
Yeah.
So I lay her out on the floor, did what I had to do, and then she went upstairs now to go and just freshen up, and I heard this scream, and I was frightened because I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? And she came down and she was in tears. And she said, oh my gosh, I can lift up my shoulder. Look, I can lift up my hand. No, my hand. I can lift up my hand. She was raising her hand from up to down, like you're stretching for something right at the top of, I don't know, a cupboard or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she then tells me that she had an accident at some point. She lost her mother, and the grief made her gave her frozen shoulder, literally. And it had not moved for years. She told me that she didn't tell me before, because you do a consultation, is there anything you want to work on?
Mm-hmm.
She intentionally did not tell me because she wanted to test me, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's in front of me in tears. So I'm trying to work out, have I hurt her? Have I done something wrong? And she is crying with tears of joy and elation.
It's interesting you say that, when I was training to be a psychotherapist at the University of Connecticut, we came upon, in one of our classes, we came upon the notion, and this is not the show for us to get heavily academic, but
Right.
we came upon, they introduced a principle to us, and they refer to it as somatoform disorders. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
And the way they were explaining somatoform disorders, and me with my, critical approach to things. Whatever.
Yes.
So I said to him, you seem to be saying that people can feel pains in their bodies and things like that there is no logical, physical explanation for it. And you're saying it's in their mind. Is that what you're saying? And
Me?
no,
Oh, you're
I was
okay, right.
talking because I was trying to understand, like, see, you know, in school they give you these fancy terms and whatever and thing. And so I'm saying, yeah. That's a respectfully. Can I ask a question? Like, is that your way of saying that there are things that happen in the body that you can't explain, so you don't know what it is, but you come up with something to say you're explaining it, and you call it somatoform disorder? And at the time, him said, yeah, that is one way. That would be an accurate way of saying it. I think. So I'm saying, so is it that a possibility that the alternate explanation for these things and whatever in terms of energy and what it's doing in your body, in terms of what you just said, the things going on in your mind that you don't understand, that whatever. So perhaps those people in there onto something with some of these things in terms of, you know, your thoughts because basically they were saying that you can be something going on in your mind and the way you think, you know, that can render your arm useless, you know.
Absolutely.
That can cause some part of your body for just not function.
Absolutely.
Which necessarily also mean your organs.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
And guess what else? This will be deeply resonant, I suspect, for our TamFamers. When you have multiple partners, especially as a woman, consider the energetic receptacle that you are. So when you've had multiple partners discharging energy into you, you are holding energies of all the women that they have seen before.
I've heard that.
Oh, I believe it. It's real. But it stands to reason, surely.
I must admit, this is one of those things where I'm not gonna lie. Like, romantically, and I don't mean romantically in terms of, you know, I'm talking romanticizing something, right? So, if romantically, it's one of those things that just sounds so sexy. It's just like it's like it's fun to believe it, but
Right.
but on the other side, if you put your emotions aside and whatever, I've heard it said often, you know, like, but if you put your emotions aside, if you really think about it, it's a huge stretch, though.
Okay, let's look at it. I don't agree.
Right.
You know that this term iron sharpens iron, and iron sharpening iron, that speaks to the company you keep, right? So if you're with company that you find uplifting, you will naturally feel buoyed. You will naturally feel happy. If you're around people who are always depressed, I mean, this is just like the most basic, rudimentary example I could give. Yes, you're going to feel the weight, even though you may be upbeat and optimistic. If this is a frequent, literally frequency that these people operate or vibrate at, you're going to feel the pull of that after a while. So if that is true, if we accept that that is true, then I believe there's a high possibility that I could be carrying, if I don't go through certain cleansing rituals, depending on my belief systems, etc., that I could be carrying, and I don't mean I personally, of course, I have read, like you said.
We're great readers around here.
Right, many readers.
right.
That it is possible, that you could be carrying it. I find it yes, I hear what you're saying. For me, it's a very captivating image. But what happens, for example, when a couple has been together for many years and people start to say, but the two of you start to look like each other? What do you think is happening there? Have you witnessed this?
No, I've witnessed it, and even just one of the things they found out was that people who kiss a lot, like good kiss, though, you would never think that just exchanging saliva is a thing. Have you ever seen the scholarship that is broken down about the nanoparticles that are exchanged and then they become a part of the, both people and whatever, and there's a synchronizing that occurs?
I haven't seen it, but I've experienced it.
People, check it out. One of the good things about these things, you can Google them easy and at least there's some
Yes.
preliminary rudimentary information about it. But like if you're kissing a lot and like exchanging fluids a lot and whatever, and they've been tracking these and they're saying that they're noticing that, each person have a particular, like your fingerprint, each person's
Right.
print is unique. But but then that unique print now has elements to it, and that elements constitute a unique identity when you break down each one. And what they found out was that just the exchange of fluids from kissing, that over time there is a hybridization that takes place there, where they become more and more in sync on a kind of granular cellular level when they start looking at the identity, that microscopic part, those microscopic elements of the identity of I forgot what they call it, of both person. They start looking
Right.
more similar.
I mean, I've seen it. I've definitely witnessed it, and I've heard people say that to me when I'm in long-term relationships. So I
I've
don't
seen
think
people in
it's difficult.
relationship for a while, and when one person gets sick, the other one gets sick too. Me see that?
Right.
Yeah, me
Right.
see that.
All of that is energetic connection,
And
and
I
it's
believe
ancient.
that something is going on. Some people say, when two people, I realize when two people dead for a long time and they're married for a long time, and when one dead, it's just like the other one go after. But people
Right.
like to say that it's a mental thing because you spend your entire life living with this person that you can't imagine your life
Right.
continuing without this person. So they say it's just your thoughts. But I am wondering though, if that when two people gel together for so long, and this thing when I talk about energy, where we're not able to explain it fully yet. But when that gelling takes place and whatever, and then one person if it weakens the other person or whatever, and that will explain the rapid degradation of
Absolutely.
organic functions inside of the body and whatever, because so it's, in other words, I'm wondering if it's not just thoughts, right? If
I
there's a
agree. It's much
physiological
deeper than
basis
that.
for it. Yeah, right,
Yeah, it's much deeper. It's much
Right,
deeper.
right.
It happens with animals too. I experienced that in my childhood. I grew up in Central Africa, and my parents, we're an international development family. So lots of expats, and there was this family going back to Canada, and they had two beautiful red setter dogs. I was probably 7 or 8, but I remember this vividly. And they were going back to Canada, and my family said, okay, my parents said, come bring the dogs, they can stay with us. You've got big yards and everything out there. And the dogs were fine. Maybe it was, I don't know, 2 weeks. I don't know what the time duration was, but it was a little time they were with us. And about a week before, one of the dogs just woke up and the dogs had passed away, frothing mouth. And the day that the owners were flying out, the second one passed away. How do you explain that?
Like I said,
For me, it's the same thing. You're talking about with
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
no,
partner.
yeah.
There's an energetic connection, and there's lots of research that speaks about how dogs and other animals, have this energetic connection with human beings as well. For me, it's fascinating. I think if we are trying to prove things scientifically all the time, we are missing out on, or maybe we run the risk of devaluing our
Right.
deep heritage as African people, wherever we find ourselves in the world.
Right.
Because those are technologies. I have been in the Dogon in Mali, and I have seen what they would call sorcerers. I don't know what the local language, you have different expressions of it, but people who can interact with celestial beings. Hey, let me tell you, if you go deep, people will say you're crazy. But I've witnessed things with my own eyes.
No. Not only you have
Deep
witnessed,
technology.
no, not only you have witnessed things with your own eyes. I find it fascinating because I know exactly what's going on, right? And I was mentioning it a couple of days ago. A lot of us don't know, that our the dominant epistemological identity of knowledge and knowing is Eurocentered, as you know these
Okay.
things and whatever. Okay,
Right.
so things are explained from their thing, and there's an inherent arrogance there with them, right? So
Yeah.
their thing is, if we don't understanding and whatever, then it's superstitious and foolish, right?
Right.
And
Right.
they have trained us to think in that way.
Mhm.
And I am trained to think in that way as a social scientist in terms of, empirical scholarship and thing, again, which
Right.
is grounded in the fundamentals of what Europeans call the period of enlightenment, and think from that coming right up, as you know, with these things and whatever.
Mhm.
But I've also trained myself to value
Right.
that training, use it and thing, but never become so immersed in it that
Right.
I ignore the other explanations out there or try to say that something is wrong with them. All right.
Right.
You just said, oh, and these people, they communicate with celestial beings. And somebody will listen and be like, oh, here we go again, this new age bullshit about celestial beings and whatever. No, but stop for a second. Have you ever seen them try to explain the pyramid? The pyramids?
I've been to the pyramids.
No, but have you ever heard like white Europeans? First of all, they
Right.
start like, oh, this is just so mind blowing because this shouldn't have been then.
Right. Right.
What the fuck you mean it shouldn't have been then? You obviously didn't understand the then, but not because you don't understand the then. What is the then 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago? Because they, again, it's this chronological thing that they're caught in,
Right.
because they're saying this is where we are now, that we have advanced now. This is where you have advanced now. But you,
Right.
that's what you they know, right? So when you see something that was way advanced than what them did there at that time, and
Right.
even more advanced than what them did now,
Right.
it's not within their capacity to say, wait a second, there is an explanation that is so bigger than us that we should be humbled about it. You don't hear that out of their mouth, They would tell you that Nikola Tesla, white man, is a genius. They would tell you Michelangelo is a genius. They would tell you
Right.
Galileo, what back then, is a genius. And would tell you Newton's law of this and that. Them have no
Right.
problem identifying those people as genius. When them go Machu Picchu, when them go Egypt, when them go all these other people, even in England, Stonehenge and whatever, they come upon these things and they have a difficulty in saying that, yeah, there were some geniuses back then in Africa, right? There were some geniuses back then in Asia. People way brighter than we could ever be, And perhaps there's some explanation there where they were the explanation with the pyramid.
Yes.
That blow them mind. Remember, I know the modern age spaceship come and go so and so.
Right. Right.
But what they're realizing, that the pyramid, them just dead so, the pyramid down to like an inch and whatever.
Absolutely.
These big blocks, these big ton block where we are ton and whatever, we go massive on this thing. They're aligned with the stars.
Absolutely.
In ways that, they're aligned with the stars in ways that they're just like, there is no way these people could be so brilliant then. But what I'm saying is the alignment with these, with all these celestial entities.
Right.
Who for tell what really going back then, them time there, we don't know.
Okay.
Right? Right?
But what we need to recognize is that Africa is the cradle of civilization.
From a long time.
So that's where it started.
Yeah.
So be it Timbuktu, be it Kush, be it Egypt, this is where it all started. And so, yes, the arrogance is one. And I feel as people who come from those lineages, we have so much that can really shift the way in which we self-identify in the world, especially when you live in diaspora spaces, because a lot of my work is concerned with how you are able to stand in the truth of your being. And these are the truths that we're talking about. We are
Wait
brilliant
1
people.
second. Let me see if I find one of these things.
The Great Pyramid.
Listen this. All right, listen. All right, people, I want to listen this, all right? All right, listen this.
The building of the Great Pyramid was knowledge that was not supposed to have existed 4,500 years ago. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Approximate date around 2,500 BC, something like that. First of all, it's mysterious for the sheer size of it. Look, so you've got roughly 750 feet along each side. They vary in length by only fractions of an inch. If you get it wrong, you're going to end up with a corkscrew rather than a pyramid. If you get it wrong at the bottom, those errors are going to magnify and they're going to get worse and worse, and it's not going to be a pyramid at the end of the day. Secondly, weight calculated at about 6 million tons, more than 2 million individual blocks of stone. Then there's the almost perfect alignment of the Great Pyramid to true north. The Great Pyramid is aligned within 3/60ths of a single degree, and they've done that on a 6 million ton monument, which is 481 feet high, which has a 52-degree slope filled with internal corridors and spaces. It sits almost exactly on latitude 30, which is 1/3 of the way between the North Pole and the equator. It incorporates the dimensions of the Earth on a scale of 1 to 43,200. If you take the height of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by 43,200, you get the polar radius of the Earth. Measure the base perimeter of the Great Pyramid, multiply it by the same factor, 43,200, you get the equatorial circumference of the Earth. All of this is extremely difficult to do. It's not impossible to do. Could our civilization do it? Yeah, I think we could. It's inconceivable that slaves were involved in this. This is a work of love from the first to the last stone. It's a beautiful and extraordinary thing, both inside and out. So what does that imply or suggest? What it suggests is that incorporated into the building of the Great Pyramid was knowledge that was not supposed to have existed 4,500 years ago. Did they possibly know the circumference of the Earth 4,500 years ago? I don't think the Egyptians knew it. I think it came down. I think it was inherited knowledge from a major forgotten episode in the human story.
You hear what him say at the end? First
From major?
No, you hear him say it's inconceivable.
Yes.
He said several things, First him said, no, I'm not just slave, do this and whatever. This is a labor of love and whatever. Somebody said, Raga, turn it up, please. And I never hear it.
I could hear it.
You could hear it anyway, right? And then at another point, him said, it's you hear the details when him get it's deep, and him say you may see its location and think them just true stability. No, it's at a particular trajectory from true north and whatever that a certain point that cause it for do so and so and so and so, right? And him gone in at the details and he must say, at the end, he must say, there is no way them can know them something, and then they must have inherited it from. What's the implication there? He must say
he's talking the truth. He's saying exactly what I'm saying. That it's ancient. He's corroborating what we are saying.
Going on there where at the end, what him really say is there is something going on there where we don't know, where we don't understand, right? So when I look back and I say, no, sir, them not supposed to know them something that 4,000 and odd years ago.
That's right.
First of all, again, that's arrogant. How you know them not supposed to know that, right? Right? You understand, yeah? But him also make a little step further and I say, no, this is not natural something. There's a part of history where we don't know about. That's what him basically say at the end.
Yeah.
He must say, there is something that happened with people or whatever that we don't know nothing about it. And it has to be something extraordinary and phenomenal and thing like that produce this type of result that him can see. You hear him explain all of them some deep sitting him explain a while ago, you know. You think anything normal. And then but there's still the reluctant to say, no, sir. No, them Africans, yeah, them Egyptian, yeah, there's no way them can know that's something there. It have to be another explanation. It have to be another explanation. But I bet you if it did happen in the middle, a white England or white Europe or whatever, they would have just say, oh, these were geniuses in them time or whatever. But once a black people and an African and whatever, I can't so. I must somebody,
Which
an
is
alien
why,
come down, come tell them this.
right? Which
Yeah.
is why it is inconceivable. Because if you think about the etymology of the word inconceivable, it means belief.
Right.
It speaks, you know, it is something that we cannot believe. And you cannot believe because their belief systems will not allow them to believe that all of humanity emanated from the cradle of humankind, which is Africa.
East Africa.
Okay.
East Africa, it comes.
East Africa, to be
No, but
precise.
they know, you know. They know, you
They
know.
know.
Well, on, look on the big notice celebrated Chinese scholar. Them no want big him up, you know. The man go out and go say, man do an extensive DNA tracing work, you know, people, for say. A man open, you know. A man say, open, set out for proof, say. Chinese people evolve separate from everybody else. That the man say him set out for proof. He say, when he go doing thing and whatever, him say, a black people who come from Africa. The man said, we never believe it. It's out there in the internet, people. The man said, we never believe him. Said, this must wrong. Make we go do it over. And he go do it. It's on the internet, people. Just search it. Chinese scholar who found that Chinese people descended from black people. The man said when he do it over again and him make sure him you know, exercise him due diligence and do everything to make sure it not come on. He said, come on, see him and whatever. They know.
Poor thing.
They know, right? Them just don't want to admit it and things like that, but them know. They know.
But here's the thing, Reggae. We need to know deeper and deeper. It is so deep. It is so vast. The ancient technologies that are in our lineages, that if we only spent our time focusing on that, can you imagine the power that we could wield more than what we are already wielding?
That's what I'm telling you.
The
We are
cohesiveness
capable
of our
of.
societies, the visioning potential, because a lot of it is invisible, as you said.
All right.
Energy you cannot see.
Hold on. You remember when, and I go juggle to some of that, but you remember when the AIDS thing did before we go on, let me just tell you what the man name. Him name Jin Lee. Whoever want to go check it out. Yeah, it's Jinli, right? The scholar Jin Lee, a prominent geneticist and former dean of Fudan University School of Life Sciences. Through his landmark research on the Chinese Human Genome Diversity Project, his team analyzed the Y chromosomes of thousands of individuals across China. They found that modern Chinese populations share genetic mutations directly linked to ancestors who migrated out of Africa.
Okay.
This groundbreaking genetic mapping, which supports the broader scientific consensus that all non-African humans originated from African ancestors, disproved the traditional Chinese theory that the ancestors of modern Chinese people evolved independently from Homo erectus, or as Peking man. So they're saying that Chinese were believing that they evolved independently. And when him do the study, a Chinese scholar, a Chinese geneticist from Food and
Sorry to
University
them.
School of Life Sciences who did this massive project called the Chinese Human Genome Diversity Project. He
Right.
found that Chinese, right? So Asians, you could just say Asians, right? They evolved from Africa,
Okay.
East Africa. They know. They all know, whatever. Them no one admit it and thing. They know a long time. So again, for those of you who want to check it out and whatever, his name is Jin Lee, Njin, and then Li.
Right.
First name is Jin, and his last name is Li. And the project is called the Chinese Human Genome Diversity Project. For those of you who want to check it out on your own and thing, I just wanted to remind you about that. Seeing, yes, go on. Mm-hmm.
Mas Reggae, it has been wonderful to explore the world of energy. Look up Lomi.
So spell it.
Lomi hyphen
Yeah.
Lomi.
Lomi. I'm gonna check it out.
Lomi.
I'm gonna check it out. That's a cute name too, you know, if you don't mind me
Yeah,
saying.
man. It's got principles, philosophy. So when you lie down, we say, okay, which principle do you want to work with today? All these Hawaiian words, pono. Yeah, man. It is powerful. It is a practice or a massage.
I know, hold
therapy.
on. I'm gonna show you a thing, you know.
Lomi.
No,
That's it.
hold
Thank you.
on. May I show you how people think now, you know. Him said, somebody in the chat said, Raga, he said they migrated from Africa, not that they are from Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Dissect that statement, you know. Somebody in the chat named Mr. Bogle posted.
Well, are you looking to disagree that
No,
we all
it sounds
eminent?
no, and him right, not in caps. And I'm showing you how we are trained to
We
think.
are
And I don't mind people
indoctrinated.
being critical, you know. But
Yes.
when you're being critical, you know, and usually somebody will say this and I don't even say nothing to them, right? But for the purposes
Right.
of our show today, right? They migrated from Africa, not that they are from Africa. Now, if he was thinking critically, he would realize that the ancestors migrated from Africa over there, and then the descendants are from those who migrated, which means they're from Africa. Right?
Evidently.
Right, you understand what I'm saying? But I'm just saying there's this natural resistance.
There is. Because it's indoctrination.
It's elementary information, you know, but it's almost
Yes.
like there's an inclination to resist it and to not agree with it and so forth, right? Because you know and I know that, you know, our people from East Africa, them go up East Africa, them cross
Right.
over into the Middle East, them
Yep.
go up until the migration path, and then go over into the Caucasus region.
Right.
Raga, I meant that they're not from black genetics.
Oh dear. It's gonna get deeper now. It's gonna go deeper now.
All right, first of all, did the man say anything about black genetics? Do you hear me say you read anything about the man? Him not say nothing from black, him just say Africa down.
Right.
So he's making, and he might explain himself, you know, and him say black genetics. So you know why he must say right there, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what he's saying.
Oh dear. It is an indoctrination.
And this sound like a black man who is saying this.
There are so many black people who say
It's
things
a black
like
man
that.
is saying this. I explain himself now, you know.
What is he saying?
And him say, Raga, I meant that they are not from black genetics.
He's just corroborating exactly what we're saying.
No. But so if
What
you
I'm saying
if
is,
you ask him now, okay, so if they're saying they're not from black genetics, so you're divorced
Yes.
black from Africa. One, where in the person scholarship they made a distinction between black genetics and what? Nothing like that was saying, but him create that now, you know. Right?
Yeah.
And even if him go there so and thing like that, you know. Like
that is how our minds on the
Africa,
in the West
my
are
bro,
indoctrinated.
Yeah, Africa is right on the equator. What do you mean read something and thing? when me did go Ethiopia in 2015, and I spoke to a gentleman there from 12 Tribes who was the second person who left 12 Tribe and repatriated to Africa, and them save up their money and send him in a Desmond. And Desmond have this thing, and Desmond I say, Raga, at some point in the future, probably not in my lifetime, but the world, things gonna go on in the world where the safest place people live going to be Africa. And I said, why you say that? I must say, you're just romanticizing Africa and whatever. And he must say, no, so he must say, sun of life, you can't live without the sun, And he must say, his thing was, Africa is just positioned the right place relative to the equator and thing and whatever. That's it. That was his thing. And then recently, I read this thing, where they were essentially making that argument that with the water come up and all these things, I know them are gonna lose something on the shores and all them something and whatever. And
you mean the ocean rising, the temperatures rising?
Yes, and they must say most of life now is on the shores. Most of the United States population is on the East Coast and the West Coast. So they must say the shore, New York, the right kind of thing. You see these movies about the water raise and flood out the sea, whatever, boom, 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 boom. But I was reading this thing, and I must say the most ideal place where you can live, right, in terms of you know, have extremities. Cause like Russia have a whole heap of land up there, but Siberia, you want to live in Siberia?
Who wants to be in Siberia?
Right? But they must say, Africa the right place. Even if you go north or you go south, they must say Africa the right thing. And they must make some comparison now, and I show you say the coffee belt. If you go right around the world, like the coffee belt, the near to the equator, anyway, coffee. Anyway, coffee, whatever, this and that, then and interestingly, coffee start in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia. You know that when AIDS did a kill off everybody.
I was living on the continent at that time.
All right then. Some scholars, they were blown away with prostitutes from Kenya and some other place. They were sleeping with people with AIDS every day. Because only Africans that die from AIDS anyway. But they couldn't understand why these women over in that area, they had this seemingly natural resistance to the HIV virus and to the subsequent it evolving into AIDS, as you know, the HIV virus does.
Right.
And so they started looking at them. And then their explanation was, well, in everything, you have a standard distribution. So you always have some people who are outliers. And they just say outliers. And I was wondering, remember, Lucy and them people who them, the skeleton who them find with all of everybody DNA are over. They say them find it, right? I don't know if you know about the anthropologists, the Leakeys, who were the first people to find, the earliest human, what named the East Africa and whatever, and things like that.
Okay. So
I'm wondering if, based on some sort of, genetic history and whatever, like, that's the strength of the thing there, in terms of resistance to certain things. And you know why I think that some of them onto something? All right, we're not calling a name. A certain person referred to Africa and Haiti as shithole countries, right? All right. Recently, I don't know if you somebody like you must know this. This person has been pressuring African countries to give this country the health records of all the people who live in that country. They did it with Namibia. I don't know if did you hear that they did it with Namibia?
No, I haven't heard that yet, but it doesn't surprise me.
Right. And then I think they wanted some, was it Burkina? But Tal said she saw it. Your friend said them saw it. Rude girl. My question exactly too.
Right.
Now, if you don't like we, and you want the national health records of people from our country, it can't be good.
Nope.
Worse, you're par with somebody who run a company that is heavily invested in genetic. You know who me attack, right? And him claims that him a do it, you know, for help people, whatever. But you're expressly out there, you're not hide and talk, so you don't care about certain people, but you care about some. So what me I say is, them know something and them up to something.
Definitely.
Them a look down the road, you know. Remember, you know, he has always, the one who him a par with me attack, you know. He has been obsessed with population control.
Absolutely.
He has been obsessed.
Absolutely.
The one with the initial EM. Right? He has been obsessed with this whole thing about the other people them who not look like them are going to take over and thing like that and whatever.
Yeah.
He has been obsessed with telling female people them we need to have more babies. We not look down the
line. How many children does he have?
I don't know him have nothing. You know.
Plenty, right? Like 37 children or something like that.
Listen to me. My best guess is they're trying to come up with a way for wipe out our ass.
Well, they can try, but do you know? Well, we know who we come from. You talk about our ancestors all the time. All of us that are tuned in here come from powerful resistance. That is clear.
No, but may I say, what if him say, I want to make them so powerful over this and make we find out what in a them thing and want to see if we can destroy that and see if we can remember, you know, theme only thing I want to do, you know, with this, you know, which company me attack, right? You know, Neuralink. You know about that, right?
No.
You don't know about Neuralink?
No, tell me.
Well, Neuralink is owned by Miss Amanda, right? And theme thing, you know, is through genetic.
Is it cloning?
You know, say that yet, you know. But genetic manipulating for kind of for heal, right? But what I say is, you already make you know what your priorities are.
Right.
You went to Germany and you told the racist German party over there, who the Germans them don't like, say, I una me a support. That you go over there and you do that, right? And you know you are play with genetic things and whatever because you want to understand the genetic thing them, right? It can be that you intend to use this for good things.
None at all.
It cannot be. And it would be, I think it would be stupid for anybody if you assume that. Because them bold now, you know, them just come out with them thing.
Very bold. And money talks. And because, you know, such man has money unlimited, you know, on track to be the world's first trillionaire or something.
Or whatever, right?
All right.
And you're big and bad and you openly say, I don't care. That's when you say, I don't care. It's just a white people time now. If you say that, and at the same time, you play up with them something, yeah. And at the same time, you, at the time when you were advised, then government and thing or whatever, with another person who, I don't know if you know, the man who owned Palantir, who did a Palantir and Wagwan and thing, who sponsor the now vice president, Mr. Vance, or whatever thing. All of them, then them come from South Africa. Them call them the PayPal Mafia. I have another one, him Shopify or whatever and things. So they are technocrats and things, but they have an agenda, right?
Right.
They are, people now hear the other side, I think, when me sit down and think. I come here, I laugh every day or whatever, but people may watch them a long time too or whatever. But anyway, so what I say is, they know. So go back to what I said, them know so there is some sort of power over this, you know, from black people and whatever, you know, and things like that. And if them so concerned about population control and things, then them are going to find some way to find a superpower and then for compromise it. And then perhaps for try for, because what him do with this Neuralink thing, you know, for them focus is to create and insert.
So that could be what? Birth control?
Right, so him create something and him insert it in a white man who did suffer a significant illness or something whatever, and then put something new in him and him a live longer now. So I mean, I say, if you already make we know what your priorities are,
Yeah.
and your thing where you start out with is for create and insert.
We have to be very careful, vigilant.
Yeah, what the logical steps, and at the same time, now when you and the group where you in, because such man, Ringy, him is all about the money, really, right?
Yep.
Him is all about the money, you know. But at the same time, him listen and him do certain things when him tell him for do, right? And you somehow get this man for sign off on this thing, you for say, make we go get the health records of the citizenry of these black majority countries, particularly in Africa. That can't be good.
This is where our leaders have to be extremely vigilant. When you talk about Burkina Faso, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, because they cannot access such records if you have a government and leadership that is clear about the dynamics of what you are saying. That's a whole other conversation for another day,
But the thing,
Maswari.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, now maybe I put down them foot and said, no, we don't want you to come work with mines.
Absolutely.
And them say, listen, is either you make we come and do this and you give your health records, or else this and that are gonna happen. Respectfully, you see when Captain Traore put on him foot on them something. And
That's
thing.
what I'm saying.
All right.
Burkina is leading the way.
You remember when Macron did say whatever, don't worry, him get a little veil the threat, right? And after that, there were several attempts for unalive him. And what they found out is that the attempts are come from the French Secret Service, who are coordinator and things like that. Because I'm sure you know that the great majority of France's income comes from North Africa, from the former colonies.
Absolutely.
And the way them set up and everything, them have to use the French franc and the whole thing and whatever, boom, bam, 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 bim, bim, bim. So when them say Traore now, with Burkina Faso and also Niger and also Mali, and form what they call the Sahel state and whatever, that's an existential threat to them, you know.
Absolutely.
So to your point just now about leadership, who know what go on, this friggin' man over Kenya, when him named President Rudd, whatever, him want to give over the information and thing.
That is the problem. So, you know, the new guard, Traore and others, you know, Batirou in Senegal, there are a few coming up, you know, but you still have many that are still puppets of these in the colonial system that still exists today. So,
and we have had people before, Sankara, we can go through the whole of them and then kill them.
Nyerere,
kill them.
all of them, all the founding fathers,
right?
All of them. But it's okay. We're good. We're strong.
I mean, play out now because a different generation too, you know, them young people nowadays, I notice them move with a different little things. So I'm going to see what
different swagger,
play out and
different step. They step differently. Absolutely. So, you know, they must die out. Then you go to Cameroon and you've got a 90 plus, is he 100? Somebody's been
how long him in a porn? I must like 50 odd years in my like whatever this and that and whatever.
They said the man flies to, where is it, Belgium or Switzerland to clean his blood every 2 weeks or something. No, come on. So anyway, those vestiges are falling away. Let us, as I spoke about earlier, let us remain optimistic.
Right.
I think it's important that we are vigilant, that we educate ourselves. We remember who we are on so many levels. We do this through culture. You know, when you talk about the culturecation, I am excited. I really wanted to come, but I won't make it this year. But
right. That's
hopefully you'll run one next year. God willing, I'll
man, I'll run back one next year, man.
You know, and remember who we are. I think that is the key. Remember these ancient technologies, the energy that we're talking about, be it healing, be it telepathy. I have been in rooms, and I'm conscious we've been on the line for a while here. I'll just tell you a quick story. I have been in rooms where we had people from the Amazon, and I can't remember what was the theme. Anyway, it was a conference. We had people from, you know, indigenous, you know, inverted commas, communities from all over the world. And we were sitting and talking about how we move forward post the conference weekend. Somebody was suggesting WhatsApp. So one of the elders who lives in the Amazon forest, she said, with due respect, I have a mobile phone, like, you know, those ones they were using after the Hurricane Melissa. What do they call those ones? Satellite phones, right?
Right.
And we get connection once every 2 weeks. So the way in which we communicate is through dreams. So they're in the Amazon forest. And she says that's how we communicate with each other. We don't use cell phone. I'm talking a few years ago. I'm not talking, 50 years ago. This conference I was sitting at in front of this elder who was saying that. So she was saying that's how we communicate. So I don't know about this WhatsApp group that you all talking about, but that's not going to work for me. If you want, we can all go in the dream meeting. What am I saying?
Yeah, come dream with us.
Ancient. She's not lying.
Yeah.
Ancient technology.
Yeah.
That's it. We have it, and let us hold on to it. Let us teach our children and fortify ourselves, because such man that you've been talking about, those are real threats. But I feel if we really know who we are, we stand in the truth of our being, we can put up very firm resistance.
Yeah.
And the leadership question is a big one, so maybe I'll come back and we'll talk about that. Or
right,
maybe we'll do some erotica poetry next time, Mouse Raga.
All right, that's our word, man. Blessings. You're
It's
cool.
been a pleasure.
Yes, man.
Good night, TamFam.
Enjoy.
Bless up on yourself.
All right.
And yes, I must go to bed very soon.
Yes.
Sweet slumber is calling. Bless up yourself.
And again,
Good
people,
night.
she's in England, so she's 5
I'm in the
hours
UK.
ahead. Yeah, she's in the UK, so she's 5 hours ahead. So yeah, people. I just all right. I just want you all to be aware of this. Oh, what do I do now? Explain the US requesting health records from developing nations. I could see what that brings. Just put something there. I just want you all to be aware of it. All right. No. This. The U.S. requests health and pathogen data from developing nations primarily to secure early warnings for potential pandemic outbreaks and to monitor the effectiveness of global health aid, such as HIV and malaria funding. However, these demands have raised significant concerns regarding digital colonialism and patient privacy. No, that is not. All right. Explain the U.S. administration recent requests of health records from, why not just make this specific, from Namibia and other nations. No, let me just say which nations. Yeah, let me just say which nation did the present U.S. Because games are played upon the internet too, people from which nations? Did the present U.S. government Oh, by the way, even when you're on the internet, it's a dance, and you have to know how to. You have to know how to trick them, you know, because it's all algorithm, you know. But them hold on things and then play games. So you have to enhance your thing, you know. Let me see where it bring now. All right, listen to this. The United States government recently requested access to citizens' health records from dozens of countries under the, listen this, you know, America First Global Health Strategy and Bilateral Assistance Agreement. So they're requesting the health records from countries under a program that, then the program start by saying the America First. All right. Nations that signed health deals with the U.S. Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Lesotho, Liberia, Cameroon, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Nigeria. Those are all African countries, you know. Central America. The U.S. has finalized similar bilateral health and security agreements with a number of countries across this region. Them not list the Central American countries. But all of the countries, them when them list for confirm and sign already. Africa. Listen this, you know. Within Ghana, the government rejected $109 million U.S. health aid package that required surrendering citizens' medical data for 25 years. People want to understand them something. Yeah. This is what I'm doing. You know. Tell them, say, if you want USC or you want this and that help or you want whatever this and that, you have to give you your health records. We want your health records and your people. Then. And Ghana said no. And them say, all right. The money there where you did forget, you now get it. Zimbabwe formally withdrew from negotiations over fears that sharing biological and health data with the U.S. would not benefit local medical innovation. That's diplomatic language for Zimbabwe. Saying, no, we don't trust you. Let them just use them nice it up, right? So Ghana said them now do it. And the United States, the money the way you did forget, you now get it. The United States can control the IMF and the World Bank and the satellite bodies attached to them and things. That also control geopolitical affairs. Zimbabwe formally withdrew from negotiations over fears that sharing biological and health data with the United States would not benefit local medical innovation. Right? ProPublica and there's a whole bunch of see the ProPublica has an article, U.S. demands to access Africans' data, raise privacy. Again, that's just like a sanitized way of saying, why you want this information? Right? Here's another story. All right, so this December 4th. All right, so I'm going to give an example while I go on, all right? So December 4th, 2025, this thing came out, all right? United States and Kenya sign 5-year, $2.5 billion health cooperation framework. The government of the United States and the Republic of Kenya today signed a 5-year, $2.5 billion health cooperation framework that outlines a comprehensive vision to save lives, strengthen Kenya's health system, and make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. Make America safer, stronger. Kenya, listen to the date, It's a December 5th or 4th or whatever, 2025. Kenya is the first country to successfully negotiate a new health partnership with the United States. Under the framework, the United States plans to provide up to $1.6 billion over the next 5 years to support priority health programs in Kenya, including HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, TB, malaria, maternal and child health, polio eradication, disease surveillance, and infectious disease outbreak response and preparedness. Here we go. Over the 5-year period, the government of Kenya pledges to increase domestic health expenditures by $850 million to gradually assume greater financial responsibility as U.S. support decreases over the course of the framework. You don't see the part with the health credit. All right, so on a year that story there. Watch it right now. This is when December 4th, 2025. Watch this now. December 12th. Kenyan court suspends landmark U.S. health aid deal over data privacy concerns. A Kenyan court has suspended the implementation of a landmark $2.5 billion health aid deal signed with the United States last week over data privacy concerns. It follows a case filed by a consumer rights. The interim ruling now bars Kenyan authorities from taking any steps to put the deal in place and whatever. But all I'm saying is this. Previous policy from the United States government is that let's help those countries with their health concerns, because when they are healthy, it's less likely the problem going to come over upon we, right? When certain people are coming on power, they were cutting all of those things left, right, and center. If you remember, a thing called Doge. I remember that. And for them thing was to cut everything. And then cut. All that money when they used to donate to countries and things, including Africa, then cut them. And then something happened from some elements of what some people say is a Project 2025 thing. Anybody who know about Project 2025? They don't like us. They really don't like us, right? And then from that, there was this thing. I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is. But, you come out openly and say, we don't have nothing to do with you. And we don't want you in our country. That is no secret. Them come out and say that. We don't want nothing to do with them over there, so them over there, so them over there. We don't want to know our country. We want to know what our country. We don't want anything to do with it. And the money where we used to go, we are stuck going in. Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, and then cut it. So you state your case, you don't like those people. Why you want them health records? Why you not only want them health records, but if them say no, you punish them because this is of somehow this is of premium importance that you get it. What's the reason why you want it? Where you want to get it from? And all I'm saying is a common sense with Tennessee. Somebody come out and tell us, I like you, I want you around me and thing and whatever, but I want to know your critical business, your life and the business. I want to know why you're sick with. I want to know the trends and patterns in your health and all them something. But me need to understand that because me need it to do something. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's a good thing, you know. But that is just my opinion. See? Today's show has been and for those of you who used to the mix-up again, this is a good time as any. It's redundant, but just to remind you that this is a lifestyle and culture show. That yes, it very often highlights mix-ups, but the show can go anywhere, right? The show can go anywhere. And sometimes we end up dealing with some pretty salient, intellectually salient stuff, okay? For some of you, I mentioned the term somatoform disorder. You can check. It's spelled SOMATOFORM. I learned about this in school a long time. But again, just to have you have an understanding of what it is, I'm reading it. Somatoform disorder, now formally classified as somatic symptom disorder, SSD, listen, is a mental health condition. You hear them start by mental health condition. But listen now, characterized by intense, disproportionate distress over physical symptoms. Listen to this. These symptoms may or may not be linked to a diagnosed medical condition, but the resulting anxiety and lifestyle disruptions are always very real. Translate that. It's a mental health condition characterized by what? Intense, disproportionate distress over physical symptoms. So they must say it's a mind thing related to some serious physical thing. And they go further to elaborate. These symptoms, and when you read these things, them write them nice, but you have to read them critically. May or may not be. That is their way of saying them don't know. That is scientists' way of saying them don't know. So them a define the thing like an expert, But them don't know one fact. So them must say, somatoform disorder, which is where I learned it, them have a new name for it now, somatic symptom disorder. They're saying that, there are things that happen in the body that we think the reason why these bad things happen in the body is based on some thinking where the people them are going with. And people like me are saying, yeah, but you don't know. There may be things happening in the body where it's not like just thinking. Your science may be limited to understanding what is going on in people's body in terms of understanding energy and so forth and things. You understand what I'm saying? That's all I am saying. And then they go on and say, these symptoms may or may not be linked to a diagnosed medical condition. First of all, you have to know the condition if you can diagnose it. What if you don't? Because basically, they must say these physical disorders, whatever is happening with the body, this, that, don't, this now work and whatever, they must say there has to be an explanation for it. And they're saying their best guess is something is going on in the mind. But we don't know. So we have to say it may or may not be linked. But we do know that something is going on there, right? Tie that into the parallels we have been discussing throughout the show thus far, where we say we do know that things happening. We just don't know what the source of it is, what the source of them was, so we guess. Right? But we're in a time now where we believe that we have reached the apex of knowledge for so many people that bright people know these things. No, a lot of bright people don't know fart because, again, just like 200 years ago, people were, a huge state of ignorance with a lot of things that we now know is the same way 200 years from now. Them will look back on me and be like, oh God, they were living in like a dinosaur cage. They thought that they were outside of they were such dinosaurs. They never know all these things. They never know all these powers that they have and whatever. They never know all these powers that mothers have with that connection, with their children that they can't see. Right? And that is when I tell you that when I was in school and them explain it so bossy and so whatever with multi-syllable words. You think like, oh, you listen to these bright people and whatever, and they're the cusp of knowing what's going on, and they explain it so well. But that is just their way of saying like, shit, there was so much going on out there with people where we don't know if we explain it, but we just know so them happen. But we can't explain it. No cure bright reason how much degree we have and whatever. We don't know them happen, but we see say them happen. Just the same way you walk up to somebody and you feel like you know them how long. Just the same way you walk up to somebody and your spirit take them. Just the same way you walk up to somebody and you feel like energy where your spirit not take them and you don't know nothing about them, but you feel something definitive. Just the same way them thief that mother, them thief the woman baby, and 18 years later and whatever, she walk somewhere and she said, no, I feel the energy of my child here, and people are say she an idiot and whatever, only for find out later on after the pitnifying or whatever, and thing in her adulthood and whatever, the pitnifying her, only for find out the pitney did dead. The day when she said she feel the pitney, she did dead. That's some deep shit we can't even explain, right? Worse, men can't explain it because men have no idea what's going on there with women, in terms of mothers and whatever. We haven't even the slightest friggin' clue what mothers feel and the level of, the psychic, the dynamics of, some of the psychic nature of our motherhood. We say it loosely and whatever. That shit is deep. We don't know what type of the degree and the level of fusion that takes place when a child is inside her mother and that bloodstream is running through her entire body, feed the brain and the child connected to the mother's brain, connected to the mother's ecosystem and whatever. And then, we don't know after that child leave what else is still there in terms of those connections. We can have metaphors to have some sense of it and say, yeah, pick me a band, but the Wi-Fi connection did the same way. I believe that. I believe that. And I just think science can't explain. I believe that it's possible that that mother felt something indeed after all those years, like some sort of radar thing, that the proximity near to her child is like triggered energy, right? What is it? I don't know. I'm just theorizing here, okay? I'm hypothesizing. Those are the bullshit terms that tell us to use when we're being trained in science, right? So I am hypothesizing that there is a relationship between the variables of certain established connections when children are inside of their moms, and when they go out, that those connections are maintained in some way where they're not literally connected, but that there is some sort of energy connection there that mothers feel, and that they can be stronger and weaker depending on what the connections are. And that they can be mitigated by multiple factors and things to make them either stronger or weaker. Right? Common types of somatoform disorders. I just want to hear them something, right? I want to know. There's a couple of them I want to know because of them me did learn when I was there, right? Experiencing neurological symptoms like partial paralysis, blindness, or seizures without a clear underlying neurological disease. Again, read these things critically. So them have fancy term for explain. But what they're saying is that partial paralysis, some part of people body, but I wouldn't want to say, and wouldn't want to stroke, wouldn't want to, we can't explain it, but we know it must be something to do with the brain. So, yeah, so it means that they don't understand the brain fully. And if it's not nothing to do with the brain, they have just locked in to say it must something to do with the brain, but who knows what it is, you know? Blindness and seizures, right? They might have something named body dysmorphic disorder. Excessive anxiety and preoccupation regarding perceived flaws in one's physical appearance. Okay. Experiencing severe persistent pain that is fundamentally caused or exacerbated by psychological factors rather than physical injury. Again, that is their way of saying people been in pain and whatever, this and that, where we have not been able to explain a physical reason for them experiencing these pain and whatever. So we just think it is a somatoform disorder. I'm just like going to examples, okay? But again, you know, they keep locking the possibility of these explanations within the framework of modern Eurocentered ways of explaining, you know, these things. When you have other explanations out there in Asia, all over Asia, the Chinese, when it comes to energy and them something, the Chinese are on another level. Asian people are on another level with them something, right? There are other African explanations, South American explanations that do not fall within the realms of the constraints of modern scientific methodologies. And it means that them right either, right? The non-European one, you know, people out there chat foolishness too. But to say he identified all these things in history way back, thousands of years, and I said, but this shit is so advanced. There's no way they should know those things. That is arrogant. That is arrogant. That is very arrogant. Right? And I, just give me some patience because I want to appreciate what this man is saying at the end, you know. There's got to be a way to fast forward this. Right? Let's just watch this one more time, right? But I want you to listen to what him say at the end, you know, because at the end, you know, I want to really appreciate, just listen to what him say at the end, you know, right? This thing not playing. What happened here?
Building of the Great
Listen to him say that.
knowledge that was not supposed to have existed 4,500 years ago. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Approximate date around 2,500 BC, something like that. First of all, it's mysterious for the sheer size of it. Look, so you've got roughly 750 feet along each side. They vary in length by only fractions of an inch. If you get it wrong, you're going to end up with a corkscrew rather than a pyramid. If you get it wrong at the bottom, those errors are going to magnify and they're going to get worse and worse, and it's not going to be a pyramid at the end of the day. Secondly, weight calculated at about 6 million tons, more than 2 million individual blocks of stone. Then there's the almost perfect alignment of the Great Pyramid to true north. The Great Pyramid is aligned within 3/60ths of a single degree, and they've done that on a 6 million ton monument, which is 481 feet high, which has a 52-degree slope filled with internal corridors and spaces. It sits almost exactly on latitude 30, which is 1/3 of the way between the North Pole and the equator. It incorporates the dimensions of the Earth on a scale of 1 to 43,200. If you take the height of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by 43,200, you get the polar radius of the Earth. Measure the base perimeter of the Great Pyramid, multiply it by the same factor, 43,200, you get the equatorial circumference of the Earth. All of this is extremely difficult to do. It's not impossible to do. Could our civilization do it? Yeah, I think we could. It's inconceivable that slaves were involved in this. This is a work of love from the first to the last stone. It's a beautiful and extraordinary
Listen.
thing, both inside and out.
So what does that imply or suggest?
What it suggests is that incorporated into the building of the Great Pyramid was knowledge that was not supposed to have existed 4,500 years ago.
How could they possibly know the circumference of the Earth 4,500 years ago?
I don't think the Egyptians knew it. I think it came down. I think it was inherited knowledge from a major forgotten episode in the human story.
I don't think the Egyptians knew it. I think it came down from a major forgotten episode of the human story. So one is refusing to believe that this knowledge that he explained for 4,500 years ago is just mind-boggling to him that the Egyptians could know it, that these Africans could know it. There's no way they could know that. That is bullshit. Right? That are the first bullshit. And so much so that he's saying that, something fantastic occurred back then, and that is how this happened. For those of you who don't know, there are those who, in their insistence in not believe that there could be African brilliance, thousands of years ago, even though there's a tremendous amount of evidence that shows that there was African brilliance in terms of Timbuktu, first university in the world, Mali being the seat of a significant amount of knowledge. Even the Middle East, even over in Iran, what was we now know as Iran, but in Persia, there's just an amazing brilliance that came out of those spaces. They know. But for a lot of those people, who insist on not knowing, in their effort to not, acknowledge that these people could be that brilliant, they believe that, people come down from space. That would be like people from another civilization come tell him that. So who knows? Perhaps he's implying that by saying, no, I don't think the Egyptians knew it. I think these things happen from a forgotten period of human history that we don't know. Something else happened, because it can't be that them know it. Because there's no way them could have known this 4,500 years ago. Yeah. And by the way, the Egyptians were black. Black, 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 black. And there's evidence to show it, the drawing and the wool, the puffy ear, the whatever, black, right? I appreciate your patience tonight with this. This was a plan, but we had some interesting discussions here. I know that this is meaningful to some of you, and I know that some of you don't care one bit because when you just come over here for laugh. I get it, but again, I want to appreciate the patience of some of you. Obviously, I am wallowing in this information and thing, because I'm sharing all of these things with you, and I usually engaging them in privacy, of course. But I also know that there are some of you who remain transfixed with the dissemination of this type of knowledge because you are indeed genuinely interested in it and you find it useful and thing, particularly with the potential for some of this information to be weaponized against us, that it is incumbent on us to know these type of things so that should we be in a position to contribute, to make some choices, to contribute, even in voting for somebody who would more likely represent our interest, our existential safety and so forth, that you would make an effort to do the right thing. Okay? All right? See something I said, power youths, love the topic and things, see it there. Yeah. Dev John said, Raga, a man like you should be on the battlefield for Jesus. You know too, but you love the world and you sound like my sister. You know, like my sister was saying, you need to preach, you need to be a pastor. Gotta call you, why you not answer? God. You see. Anyway, people, again, do remember this Friday we're going, based on what you guys said, the restaurant that we're going to is a restaurant called Code Red Restaurant and Lounge. This Friday, TamFam get together. Code Red Restaurant and Lounge. It's on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. We're gonna meet there at 7:30. Right? Code Red Restaurant and Lounge, Gun Hill Road, the Bronx. All right. If you are forward, make sure you send me a text or an email. If you are forward, make sure you send me a text or an email. Send me a text at 516-500-0210. 516-500-0210. 516-500-0210. If you're sending me an email, the email is raga@ragashanti.com. 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 There's some other things there, but anyway. Okay. And it's 7:30 this Friday. All right. I have to go now, people. Don't be vexed. Don't get upset, but me have to go Lego, you know. I can say something first. I really have to go now, because Shams Raga, you're hearless. Yeah. Thank God. Even though I never want to hear this, when I look at it, I used to rub Belrose ear oil for my skin for get tear and whatever. I'm glad me never do it. Because back then, the ear man, them did run things. Ear man, them not run things again, and them no stop shave. Enough of them no stop shave. CWG, big up yourself, man. I say a word, man. See? People, you're the troublemaker again. Oh, look like in gone. The one came, All right, Sean, big up yourself, boo-boo. With your strong body, firm self and thing. You, Sean. All right, people, I'm going to go here. I have some things to go do right, to one thing, see? Large up on yourself. Raga, don't leave me. It too good. What? It good? I like Chrissy, it good? Tell me again. Tell me again if it good. All right? Tell me again if it good. If me I hit the spot. Me I hit that spot, then me just stay right there. So me now move right at that spot there. Yeah? K, make sure you come to dinner. 7:30, all right? 7:30 on Friday. All right, K? Craigton Day in New York, Sham. Him day in New York. Don't know them man, yeah. And man about them thing, and just touch down, Craigton, if you ask Craigton, you can't talk to me and tell me about you need a ride. Don't, Craigton, fix up that man. So, Craigton, yeah. Craigton, fix up that man. Craigton, you can't tell me about you need a ride there. Put some clothes on that, Craigton. Yeah, brakes. Yeah, some brakes, man. Yeah. God. People are just mischief for me. Don't even read too much in it. Yeah, just mischief for me. You know what I'm saying? To Jamaica. Sham, it named Code Red Restaurant. I them tell about it over here, man. Code Red Restaurant. It up on Gunny Road in our Bronx, 7:30. But anybody that come, you need to make me know, because I need to know how many people are going there, you know. You see? Craig Tan say, I want to drive. I've got to talk to you about that, dog. Cleon movement, big up yourself, you know. All right, K, line up your thing, you know, and touch down in our place, here. See? Yes, in Alicious, a Code Red, 7:30, Friday. Craig Tan, K say if you come drive her. No, drive your car, ride you. Eh? Oh, man, I'm looking for Oh, I must see the other phone. Okay. All right. Yeah, man, pretty one queen. So, yeah, man, a Code Red restaurant. On Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. Code Red restaurant on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. All right. Why you have to crush the banana over YouTube? Mr. Combs drop out, you know. Mr. Combs did drop out, man. Remember him did sick and bedridden. Mr. Combs drop out long time. About a good 2 years now, Mr. Combs drop out, you know. Oh, you mean, Tip? Tell the boy. Tip, tell him saying to fix that up, yes, Tip. How him depend? And daily big up yourself, you know, love and blessings here. All right. Anyway, people in our morals, you know, ligaments here. Mr. Never wrong, all right, man, Chrissy. Mr. Never wrong good, man. Yeah, Mr. Never wrong good, you know. I never wrong good, man. All right, watch your ride, man. Lego.